Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.
Hello, and welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel and the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling podcast, because today we are back for the build-up show, and it's been a while, boys, but we are finally back here talking wrestling, and it feels good. How are you guys doing?
All good, man.
Oh,
Echo in the room.
So I should do a little introduction. If you haven't watched our videos before, my name is Scott. In the mask, we've got the lovely luchador, that is Rob, and down below we've got Lucas. So what we're going to do here on the build-up show is the regular format would be we go over last-minute predictions, because we'd have already done our predictions, but we haven't done them this week. If you're a subscriber, you'll recognize that. We haven't done our regular subscriptions. You ain't done a subscription. Subscribe. We haven't done our regular predictions, is what I'm trying to say. So we're going to add them in here as actual predictions, locking them in for tonight's PLE event, Money in the Bank. But then as far as the regular format goes, we'll be kind of doing a bit of that as well. Just previewing the event, taking comments as we go along, and a few random discussions as we go along as well. It's a very chilled and relaxed atmosphere here. Sort of like I guess a pre-show party we like to think of before the build-up show. And if the build-up show continues into when the pre-show's on, this acts as a little bit of a watch-along for that as well. So if you're new, subscribe. If you're not, hey, thanks for coming back. So yeah, firstly, Money in the Bank. Are you excited, guys?
Doesn't
sound like it. Can I just say?
A little bit. The thing is with Money in the Banks, they're either hit or miss. Like, we've spoke about this before, so I won't moan about it and reiterate it. But I preferred it when it was at WrestleMania, and it was just the Money in the Bank match itself. I don't like this idea of gimmick pay-per-views and it's all about this Money in the Bank, blah blah blah. But hey, I'm looking forward to the Money in the Bank matches in general. But I don't know. WWE has been a bit off with it recently with their booking, haven't they? And going in towards Money in the Bank, I don't like it when they do that. When it's a bit of a dodgy booking, building up to a pay-per-view, worries me.
It's always an interesting night, Money in the Bank, because it feels, obviously, WrestleMania is obviously so geared up towards, and you know, there's always exciting moments and things that happen. Obviously, no matter what year it is, and obviously this year I think we were really blessed actually this year at WrestleMania and how it went. But obviously, it kind of feels like there's a bit of a lull period after that, because we all know as fans the next thing to get excited about is Money in the Bank leading into SummerSlam, and I feel that it's always like a turning point, really, because the Money in the Bank now is like the Rumble winner. You know, once that person. You know, tonight, obviously, that person is walking around in Las Vegas and is just one of the, I think it's 7 in each match this year, weird number, but 7 competitors for the Money in the Bank briefcase, and is treated one way. But tomorrow, or sorry, in this case on Monday night, when they will show up most likely on Raw, because I don't think there's any brand split rules, it seems now anymore. If they are SmackDown Superstar, they will be Mr. and Mrs. Money in the Bank. And that completely changes everything about them. You know, obviously the King of the Ring thing was kind of a thing at one point, where obviously that was more, that also became a gimmick change. Could argue with this as well, like it becomes a gimmick change for something. Yeah. You now become Mr. Money in the Bank. You have the briefcase, and you have to do the briefcase segment of some kind. Whether that is doing the Brock party a few years ago, or whether that is being the ultimate opportunist, like people like Edge we've seen, and the Miz like in the past.
Flirting with a cash in every 5 minutes.
Yeah. But it changes that superstar, that wrestler's perception to the audience. And it's always an exciting time. Obviously, this one's been kind of confusing because at one point it was being promoted obviously at a different venue. They then reduced that venue because they didn't sell enough tickets.
Yeah.
It's the WrestleMania 7 bomb threat again, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
They're saying, you know, but yeah, they didn't sell enough tickets basically.
Yeah.
So they're in a smaller arena, but they're also obviously only about 45 minutes away from the UFC card.
Yeah.
Obviously, also in Vegas. And so it'd be interesting. And with obviously Double or Nothing recently being in Vegas for AEW, it does seem like the area might be a bit fatigued. But
becoming a bit of a boom town, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, but hopefully. But the thing is, like, you're saying like that, but on the flip side of that, I can't remember what it was, but wasn't there like a SmackDown or Raw they went to recently, a town they went to recently where they barely drew like 3,000, 4,000 fans because it's just not a territory that they've been in. You know, it's a case of it's either, well, go to the same towns and draw well, or take a gamble and don't draw, it seems.
Yeah.
Because their ticket prices are really quite high now as well, aren't they? Particularly after the pandemic. As obviously everything's gone up, obviously, but it seems their ticket prices have really gone up, especially for the TV and the PLEs.
Yeah, I mean, it's that kind of one of those things. Do you bring the ticket prices down and get more people in the door, or do you try and get greedy and kind of take as much pennies out of the ones that you know will definitely come either way? You know, it's always that kind of balance to do as a promoter, I guess. Going back to the kind of downsizing though that you're saying, I think that got announced on the Hell in a Cell show, was it? Because obviously back since then, we didn't actually get time to lock in a recap and review, sadly. So we haven't actually done any out. We haven't even gone through our predictions table. I've got to update you guys to let you know where we all stand. But yeah, that changed on that PLE. Bit of a shocker. Just because I just thought they're stubborn. They wouldn't back down. And like they're really, and we talked about on the last build-up show, actually, like Lucas, you were saying basically this is going into stadium kind of I can't remember how you put it, but basically a stadium time period or stadium shows. You know, we've got Clash at the Castle coming up as well, SummerSlam. You know, it's a big, but it's a bit too crammed together. You know, and this period after WrestleMania is always confusing. WWE themselves don't know what to do with it because every year they change the order of Hell in a Cell, Money in the Bank, Extreme Rules. They throw in Payback. You know, they throw in something else there as well. So it's always a confusing time anyway. But I think this year it just didn't help, and obviously. I mean, there's a lot of things going on at the moment with like Roman not being on certain shows, Cody Rhodes sadly getting injured, and kind of we touched on it a lot last month before the show that he maybe shouldn't have had that match. And obviously, this isn't a recap and review of Hell in a Cell, but since we didn't get a chance to talk about it, what an incredible performance that was. Don't know if it was wise though, because it sounds like it's 9 months now. But hey, you know, I'm sure the Rumble rumors will be flying either way.
Randy injured as well.
Randy injured as well. You know, so you know what I'm basically getting at is that they're on posters, for example. And you know, it's subject to change and all that. But Clash at the Castle, I don't see Roman being there. Cody was on the poster as well. So there's 2 big draws gone already. And then you think Money in the Bank.
Roman is all over the marketing for it, though, to be fair, even after.
I hope so, man. I really hope so. Because I ain't seen him, this version of him. Ronda as well. Okay, fair. Well, I hope it is the case. And maybe that's kind of stepping that direction because of Cody kind of absence. But yeah, Cody not being there is a real shame. But yeah, maybe that kind of plays a part in this Money in the Bank situation as well. I mean, I know that night they'd already decided to downgrade anyway, but this kind of loose kind of thing with the roster, bringing back Brock Lesnar and already putting him in the SummerSlam title match, it's just, it doesn't feel very stable. And as you said, Rob, as well, yeah, it's not the greatest build. And when you're going into a big pay-per-view, PLE, like this, it's, it's not, doesn't fill you with much hope. But it's the Money in the Bank match that always sells it for me. You know, as much as I agree, it was really fun on Mania. And these kind of themed PLEs are kind of definitely run their course for me. Money in the Bank kind of a few years ago was creeping into taking that King of the Ring slot as far as the 5th big PLE. And I think it probably still is. There's been some incredible Money in the Bank events rather than just the match itself. But like you say, it can be a bit of a miss as well. But yeah, for me, this time got round, like if it weren't for the Money in the Bank matches themselves, which I kind of also don't care about, and we'll get into, I wouldn't be that thrilled about this show.
Yeah, it's an odd one, isn't it? Because I think, I think obviously it feels very much like the Roman thing, the contract thing with Roman, they're kind of on the back foot with. They obviously had Cody. They had Randy, the RK Bro. They had obviously things that were kind of able to kind of distract us from this. But this card and every card that kind of is now going to follow, it's that Roman-sized hole of there's no stars, and it is obviously we'll get to the Money in the Bank matches in particular, obviously in this show, but there's just gaping holes in this card where you're just like, damn, this is quite shaky, and it feels like obviously the Brock coming back thing is because there is nothing left. They've exhausted every option. I'm assuming Bill Goldberg won't return their calls anymore. He's just he's happy. He got a couple $1 million for doing what he did for a couple of years, and he's satisfied. But I think they, and obviously if they are planning for The Rock to come in, that's obviously going to be a Mania thing. And even they're saying about Cena as well, like he's shifting tickets like that. That's a Mania thing now. Potentially, if we can shift that many tickets and get obviously Raw above 2 million viewers for the first time in ages, are you going to risk just, putting him on like something smaller? Like, no, that's Mania. And it just feels a bit like they're out of ideas. But the main problem they have right now, the imminent way to fix it is through this PLE, the winner of that PLE, and when they cash in on the men's side, is the make or break for me for what they can do over the summer. Because they need to find a way to get one belt off of Roman. Absolutely now. Because if they don't, they're just shooting themselves in the foot. Because if Roman's on this contract where he's only doing these big shows, only these big stadium events, and has dates that he can't work and TV that he can't work, that's the other thing to remember too. Like there's limits on his house shows, on his television appearance, and his PLEs. So you could be seeing either Roman not on these shows, or if he is on these shows, just a case of the match graphics being announced and that being it for the promotion, and he just showing up.
At the PLE,
at the PLE, because they're going to run out of appearances. They did it before with Edge, and they did it offer loads more, obviously.
I don't get, look, we all know, right, that Roman's got this contract dispute. Now, I don't think he's being a pain about it. Obviously, whatever's going on, obviously he's gone through the leukemia stuff. He went back into remission. Since then, obviously, we've had COVID and stuff like that. If we know all this stuff about Roman, and at the moment is currently holding both championships, explain to me why WWE aren't using this thing to do with his contract in a damn story and saying, if you want me, pay me, acknowledge me, and build it. I mean,
it fits with his
that's not a heel
character.
Like, you know what I mean?
It does kind of fit with his heel. They might as well acknowledge it on TV. But it's tough because I think obviously we're all fans of Roman's work, especially the past year or so. But what a time to give someone 2 belts, like when all this starts happening. And you could say, they didn't know, or it was, but Roman, I'm sorry, but I don't know. I'm not exactly best buds and close to Roman. I know he's inside, of his mind and all that. But even I, as a fan, thought, I reckon Roman's going to start winding things down a bit here and earning big bucks to do less dates. Like, it seems obvious. Like you say, after the things that gone on in the past few years, why would you not do that? And he's getting older anyway. Like John Cena just come back and ironically said, "Hey, I don't know when I'm going to be back and do this." Roman Reigns said a similar thing a few months ago. We debated whether or not it meant the retirement was on its way. It's a strange time to give someone 2 belts. It kind of reminds me of in football when you give someone your captaincy, even though they're not a captain, they're just your best player, and you really hope they don't leave next season. That's what it reminds me of. Noble.
Oh man, I'm nervous. I'm nervous about
that. Right, so here we go. We got a comment. You know the deal. WWE must have something planned for tonight because let's be honest, the overall card is so predictable. No titles will be lost tonight. Well, we're definitely going to get into our predictions. Once again, you know the deal. Thank you for joining us. You definitely know the deal. Really do appreciate it. And please keep your comments coming. Yeah, we got a lot to get into. We're going to predict all of these matches, including the title matches and, of course, the Money in the Bank ones, which are always the most exciting for me. Now, quickly before we do, we got to remember again, we talked about the original promo that got changed because Cody Rhodes was in it, and it was about a stadium, and we're not having a stadium anymore. But there was a throwaway comment that everybody latched onto was, "You will headline WrestleMania," basically. And they've gone quiet on that.
Yeah.
Do you think that was ever the plan, or was it meant to be in theory? You could, because you could be champ, or you could be cashing in because it's up to you, or were they actually going for a Rumble type thing?
From that essentially was that it was Vince's idea. Filming had wrapped on the entire promo for that day, and they were just kind of packing stuff up or whatever. And Vince phoned and said you had to put that line in.
Really? Okay.
The producer of the promo said, "Are you sure? Like, it's nothing to do with WrestleMania."
Yeah.
It must be. I can't imagine having to have that phone conversation.
It's so far away from Mania as well.
It's your own, I mean, but the thing, it's Vince's thing. Like, he's hit a creative. What are you going to argue with him?
Yeah.
Hit a creative. And at that point, obviously, he was still the chairman and CEO, which is bonkers to say. In
Yeah, I just realised again, a lot has happened since we last did a podcast. So we won't go too deep into it. But yeah, oh my goodness. But yeah, you're right. I mean, what do you say to that? Go on.
I really think that it was a case of, look, I'm not going to say it was predictable that Cody was winning, right? But I felt like if Cody was in it, it was inevitable that Cody was going to become Mr. Money in the Bank, right?
Yeah.
But this is my thing. I believe that if it was the case of that, then the rule would have been whoever won the Money in the Bank will have to cash in at Mania. That is going to be the rule and the stipulation put in place. You will have a Mania match.
Wouldn't that have run the Rumble?
No, because
one gets the other, but
yeah, and then the other person that wins the Rumble gets the other main event for the other title. If there's one champion at the moment, both of them will go into that match.
See, this is where they've just shot us in the foot with the 2 belts thing, Roman's contract, and just not allowing any new talent to grow. Apart from, and we'll get to it when we talk about the Money in the Bank match. I have a few things, positive things to say about that. But this is where they've sat on the laurels for so long, and we are where we're at because of their own doing. And they can fix this. They can fix this, but it's a case of, as we know, their way usually of fixing it is call Brock, call Goldberg,
which is kind of what they've done already with Brock as well. And again, once we get to the Money Back, I've got a few things that I want to mention as well. But the main thing there, I do think that Cody probably would have won it. And if it was that line of WrestleMania, that means the plan was he will probably beat Roman at WrestleMania. And we've debated for ages, when will Roman lose? Will he lose one? Will he lose both? How's it going to go? Will there be a unified champion if he loses both? What's going to happen? Yeah, we've gone on about that for ages. Check our other build-up shows and stuff like that. There's some great topics discussed there. But if that's the case, then yes, it might be a throwaway thing and it might have been cancelled and Cody might not be winning it. But does that still mean that Roman ain't going to lose it for that long? And I think it's been a great run. I think having it for this long has been fantastic. But having 2, I always said, was the problem for me. Now, getting 1 off of him is a risk as well. Again, we've talked about how you could do that. But does that mean really that this would have gone then that long? Does that mean Cody is still planned to beat Roman? So either way, whoever wins Money in the Bank doesn't mean anything. And therefore, it's going to be someone eventually.
I like to kind of think that WWE are very reactionary to things. And they have to do a lot of this stuff on the back foot, and I like to think that the 2 things wouldn't be linked. Like the things are separate. So I think a case of, if obviously Cody was meant to win, he now can't win. They will have to change the winner, and change the winner changes the narrative. I think Cody at Mania, like having his cash-in moment, thing is as well, like. Because again, with the Money in the Bank matches, is the fact that there's still so many interesting story options for the briefcase winner that they haven't explored, and including this one really, because they didn't get to do it. Because if people can recall, when Mr. Kennedy won Money in the Bank, he announced that he was going to cash in at the next year's WrestleMania. It was a big part of him with Mr. Money in the Bank, and sadly, obviously, we weren't able to fulfill that story due to injury. But it's a story that they haven't explored again since. They've always kind of, and they've overused recently, obviously, the cashing in like straight away. And maybe that's a knee-jerk reaction to get ratings, but also because injuries. Like they don't potentially want the same thing to happen again.
Yeah.
But that very much would have felt like that would have been the story they would have done with Cody. And again, that even rings true when you consider what he did in AEW, when obviously he did the whole, if I don't win now, I now can't challenge this title thing. I think it would have been a kind of continuation / version of that.
Yeah.
Of a case of, I've got this briefcase, I'm coming for you, I'm going to show why I'm the best wrestler in the company. And he could have amazing matches, obviously, up and down the card with, obviously, Kevin. He's loads of people he needs to face to, I guess.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens and AJ Styles. There's so many people up and down the card, but just knowing that that's coming at WrestleMania next year and building up to that as a really, really big and special moment.
That's why I feel like, are we just because a lot of times, remember the whole day one stuff, for example, the drama there, it does feel like sometimes, they do just go, we can't do that, and we do a new narrative. But a lot of times it feels like, we'll get back to what we were going to do eventually. And they kind of do get back there. And that's what I'm kind of feeling like it would be the case. Because of the players involved. Roman, Cody, Vince McMahon. That's what I feel like. And that's not a slight on any of them. But like Vince has his mind made up. Cody's coming for a reason. And Roman is the man. You know what I mean? Like these are the players where you feel like they're going to do what they're going to do.
With obviously something else to maybe consider is obviously with the TV season about to start in September as well. And they know that cash-ins, they pop the ratings, things like that. Like I think they will be eyeing up possibility of that happening again. Like I think I just think the Cody story is so tied with WrestleMania and that kind of thing. But I do think at this point they could think, well, it's so far away, and we could still do that moment with Cody winning the belt at Mania, like down the line potentially. But at this point in time now, the company is now very, very different because of this Roman situation and 2 belts. Which, it's very complicated. It's very complicated.
It feels to me then it has to be a failed cash-in. But again, we'll get to that in a moment because how do you cash in on one title if they're going to separate the title? It's so confusing.
Know,
it's such
the belts are still on WWE.com as like 2 different belts.
But how do you say which one it is?
I guess they have to announce that he's.
I feel like they'll do some hokey thing where it's like Roman will be like, "You can't challenge for this and it'll be some stupid thing we're meant to buy because how they change the rules every now and then." That's what I worry.
Well, there's the thing that it's all just been a mess. Like since
shooting themselves in the foot, like you said.
2 belts.
Yeah.
Since they did the 2 belts and then decided that they weren't going to do what they did with Becky Lynch a couple of years ago, which again, I get that we would have potentially ripped that apart for being a repeat, but the Becky Lynch thing made sense because it was like, okay, you did the Becky 2 belts thing, you got your t-shirt money out of it for a month, did the house show circuit with that. She then lost 1 belt and then didn't go, then that belt went to the other brand where it belonged, and then she continued her story and obviously her amazing run with that other belt. But the Roman thing, because the contract thing happened obviously during all this, we still haven't, he's only defended the titles, still 2 belts, I guess. Once against Riddle on SmackDown, an amazing match, by the way. A few weeks ago, on TV, we haven't seen a men's world championship match on WWE PLE since WrestleMania.
Yeah. But this is the thing, like as much as I'm against a lot of it, and I do think
the year is not 1988.
Yeah, well,
you haven't got Hulk Hogan, who was able to have that continued popularity where at WrestleMania he could appear and defend his title.
And go away.
Then at SummerSlam he could reappear and defend his title, knowing that he's selling all these t-shirts and all this merchandise for the 4 months in between. And just the fact that the product wasn't oversaturated like it is now. You got to deal with it. As we touched upon just now, the amount of stuff that's happened, even in our when we're telling us that was 5 weeks ago, wasn't it?
Yeah,
barely 4 or 5 weeks ago.
I can't even remember what happened to him in the cell. I'm not
The
going to lie.
landscape has changed.
It's changed. Oh, so much, and so many times, so quickly. Quickly, just want to say once again, thank you everyone that's joined us. If you're new here, please subscribe. That's a normal call to action for all YouTubers. And leave a comment, as Lucas just mentioned. Let us know what you think is going to happen tonight, and not only what you think is going to happen, what do you want to happen tonight at Money in the Bank? Go on.
Yeah. So I know it's not your favorite one, Scott. But let's go back quickly to the 2020 Money in the Bank, which was the pandemic one, right? So we had Otis win and Asuka win, yeah? Now, that was the 2 Money in the Bank. There was 8 matches on that card. Now, that is a solid card. Hardy versus RO. The New Day versus the Forgotten Sons versus the Miz and the Lucha House Party. They're gone. Lashley versus R-Truth. Bailey defeated Tamina. Strowman defeated Wyatt in that swamp match. Then let's fast forward to what we're at now. Bianca versus Carmella. 2 Money in the Bank matches. Ronda Rousey versus Natalya. A tag match. And Theory versus Bobby Lashley. Now, I'm sorry, but 2020's a whole PLE or pay-per-view sounds so much better than what we're watching tonight. How is that possible in a pandemic era? Like what? How they've got so much.
They were kind of overdoing it at the time, though, weren't they? They were just trying to see what works. But you could say, I mean, but the people want to. I mean, I am, and we'll get to this, but I'm kind of intrigued by the Ronda Natalya thing. I'm pretty sure I know who's going to win, but I like the storyline. I like how they've been on social media, and Money in Banks are always fun. Yeah, but yeah, there's a lot of stars there that have gone. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to quickly get to this comment we got here again from You Know the Deal, saying for the Money in the Bank, Zayn wins Money in the Bank, gives it to Roman. Roman cashes in on the US title, triple threat to win the US belt too. I flip and hope that doesn't happen. But I think that's a good time.
Joke comment, that one.
I mean, it's a good time. And again, keep your comments coming. Really do appreciate it. I think it's a good time though to talk about our actual predictions. Oh, here we go, another one. Johnny Black, hello lads. Hope Rollins wins Money in the Bank, cashes in, wins the WWE Undisputed title, and then have a main event. WrestleMania main event, sorry, with Cody. Let's go. See, another one. As much as I enjoyed their matches, and on paper that sounds like a good idea, I don't know if I can be bothered, because it feels done, and it's hard to bring that back. It was they drug it out quite a bit already.
Don't be wrong, though, both those people have referred to it as the Undisputed title. Like, you know, do people commenting, if you are watching, like, try this? You know, can you comment, like, do you think that the belts are set, like, you know, can there be a cashing done on one belt, basically? That's a big part of, obviously, I think, what we're going to be discussing particularly in the men's Money in the Bank predictions. So, people in the comments want to comment, you know, if they think that can happen or it should happen, and if so, which belt? You know, should he lose the Universal title first? Or should he use
which one would you? Yeah, I think he should lose the WWE title because he's had the Universal for the longest. You know, to keep that streak alive. But it's such a tricky thing to do already. But yeah, again, shooting themselves in the foot, backing themselves in the corner. Use all the analogies you want. That's what they've done for about a year now. Let's move on though. Let's do some actual predictions, and we are going to go match by match. Of course, but we will go backwards and forwards as well. So if you comment about another match we're not talking about, don't worry. We might kind of hold that back till later on. Or if you join us late, well, you wouldn't have heard this speech. Basically, we might be going back on ourselves talking about the same matches again, just here and there if there are interesting points that do pop up. So let's move into the first match we're going to actually predict now, and that is actually the men's Money in the Bank.
We dubbed it the graphic in time.
Who's been added?
It's Madcap Moss.
Okay, there we go. Put me someone excited. Madcap Moss, Sami Zayn, Sheamus, the Omos, the Nigerian giant. I was trying to think of the nickname there. Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, should have said Seth Rollins, and Riddle, the original bro. Quickly comment here from Johnny Black. Guys, is there a chance that the winner Money in Bash can cash in for only one world title? That's what we're saying. How do you pull that off? Maybe.
That's what I'm asking.
Maybe. We're not sure. Like, what do you think, Johnny?
To be declared. It has to be declared.
And that would be weird. Imagine running down. I want to do it for that one.
Dip, do.
Why? Exactly. But anyway, you guys let us know what you think, how it should be done, how it could be done. I mean, realistically, I don't think it should be done, but if it is, let me know what you think should happen.
One way it could be done potentially is if obviously after Roman's defended one. Oh, it's hard though. They're not. They're not doing it properly because
Lucas is getting angry.
I need to research something. Becky Lynch was the champion. I'm pretty.
No, I just like that. They're not doing it properly. Should be there.
That's the tagline.
That's the headline for the show. Oh, they're not doing it properly. All right,
I'm going to research something because I need to find out basically. I'm determined. I think that after Becky Lynch did the both belts thing, they then did the belt. She defended only one belt the next month or whatever. Or the triple threat thing, didn't they? I think it was triple threat they did.
I can't even remember.
Something they did.
I
researched that while we were talking about the match. But yeah, I mean, what a show. When did she lose it then? So don't mind me. I'm just researching.
That's all
stuff,
right.
but yeah.
What order do they usually go in, boys? Does it go Rob and then Lucas, or does it go Lucas then Rob? Are you number?
I'm always number 4.
You're number 4. What are you doing up there then?
I feel it's weird now. That's weird.
Yeah, all right. Well, I'm number 2 usually. Lucas is 3, and of course, number 1. Dan the man's not here. He is on holiday, and that is going to get us to our next point. So what we're going to do now, thank you everyone for joining us. Please, again, give us your comments. Let us know what you think is going to happen tonight at Money in the Bank. But what we're going to do now is we're going to do our predictions, and as we go along, please chime in as well. Lucas, did you have a point? Did you find your research?
Yeah, so I found what happened. So Becky Lynch obviously won both championships at WrestleMania 35 main event, as we know. She then did the back-to-back title defenses at Money in the Bank, funny enough, where she...
Oh, okay, yeah, I remember now.
She retained the Raw Championship against Lacey Evans, but she then lost to Charlotte Flair, who was then cast in on by Bayley.
Right, yeah. So you could kind of do it like that, like you say, but then why would they choose which one to cash in on?
But this is what I'm saying. So from the get-go, this identifies to me. Again, I haven't gone back and watched every Raw since WrestleMania 35 and recap, but they treated them like 2 separate championships and were happy to be defending 2 different titles. Similarly, when Seth Rollins won the US title, when he was also WWE champion, and the United Champions thing where he faced Cena and Sting.
But they got to explain it before. It's easy to promote an event at the next PLE, but to cash in is, it's random. It's boom, we're doing it. So
but what I'm saying is it's the presentation though. The presentation of this is very different. And we have to get to it when we get to the tag team match on this actually show as well, because they've done the same with that, where they're not doing them separately. They're purposefully saying they're one belt, one title. Whereas when Becky Lynch won both belts, she defended the championship separately and demanded they were separate belts. And then when she lost one, it wasn't too big of a thing. But now, on this scenario, Roman Reigns and the Usos are being referred to as the undisputed world and tag team champions.
I forgot the Usos had theirs as well, yeah.
So we've got to talk about that anyway later.
Yeah.
But back to this Money in the Bank actual match, though. So who wants to go first? Who's going?
Okay, well, we've actually got some videos from Dan as well. So we're going to play those. We're going to get those in there. Let me just get one of these up now as well. So we've got, firstly, Dan. So Dan's on holiday at the moment. So that's why he's not joining us live. So is Ronnie still? Ronnie's around. Ronnie's home here, so he's definitely on holiday because he's not in his home. But here we go. We've got Dan just going to give us a little message first. Okay.
So yeah, once I'm finished this, I will give you guys my Money in the Bank predictions. That's really nice. Strawberry.
Okay, it does look really nice. I think he thought I'd cut it, but that's a lot of editing, mate. I ain't doing that for the last few seconds. But yeah, so Dan is on holiday, so he's going to be kind of chiming in as we go along. We'll be reacting to Dan's to his predictions, and we are going to start once again with the men's Money in the Bank. Sorry, you haven't got the updated graphic. Again, that's a bit too much extra work. So what are we going to do? Start with Dan's predictions here for the men's Money in the Bank match.
Hey, it's your boy Dan coming to you from Future Ventura and my Money in the Bank predictions. First match, I'm going to go with the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. I am going to pick for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. I think the winner is going to be Riddle. Yeah, I think Riddle is probably got the edge here. I think he's going to be the man that goes over in this one, and possibly Seth Rollins or Drew McIntyre. But yeah, I think Riddle's got this one.
Okay, interesting there. Before we go into it, did it sound like there was a pig being massacred there? Or do you think it was a seagull? I'm not quite sure what that was.
He's making me seasick with all that camera moving. Sort him out.
Okay, a quick comment here from Will Ready Sport Rally. Thank you for joining us again. Hi guys, you in the UK? Are you guys? Yes, we are. GB should be the flags right now, I'm sure. Cool stream. Thank you. I've got Seth myself in this match. Thank you very much again for commenting and joining us. Seth Rollins going for Will Ready Sport Rally. So Dan went for Riddle. Okay, well, I guess, how do we want to do this, boys? We haven't got Dan's dice. I don't know where Ronnie's at. Should we just kind of keep mixing it up randomly? All right, I'll go first on this one. So Dan's gone for Riddle. It's a tough one for me because I think the obvious person is Riddle, but it's tough. Drew makes sense in the sense that he's a superstar. He's big. I would get the new graphic, but what's the point? Madcap Moss ain't winning. Drew, I could see because he's a superstar. Riddle, I can see because he fits the mold for what the Money in the Bank winner should be. Seth fits because he's a superstar and he could definitely be in that title picture very, very soon. And I personally think the winner should, I don't know if they will, the winner should lose because this whole cluster is too confusing. I don't think this is the way to get the title off Roman, either one of them. Too confusing. Maybe do the 2 matches like Becky did, but you'd have to declare that, and that's not where the fun of the Money in the Bank comes in. So I want someone to cash in on both, and I want them to lose. For that to not impact someone, I think it should be Rollins because he's a fantastic heel. I think Drew would turn into a weird mopey story, which I don't want to do. And Riddle, that worries me because I do think he fits the mold for winner of the Money in the Bank. I always say Money in the Bank and Royal Rumble should be someone breaking through that upper mid card into the main event. Now, Riddle's been kind of swinging around there for a while now. Fantastic kind of program he's had with Randy Orton, and that's continued quite well as well, seeing as Randy Orton hasn't been around. I always like, it's funny when a wrestler does someone else's moves, especially when they act like a big fan for him. So, that's continued. He's doing more of Randy's moves. He's keeping that spirit alive. It just feels like that. And you mentioned earlier on, Lucas, that match between him and Roman, what an incredible match. But the fact that they didn't do anything with it on a SmackDown, why they're just doing that fantastic match, kind of makes me think, because they're not planning on doing it anytime soon properly. So for that, my prediction, and this isn't who I want to win, but this is who I want to win to get rid of the cluster for what I think you should do to fix this annoying thing that WWE have done with the men's world titles, is I think Seth Rollins will. I don't, but I do, but I don't, because it's Riddle's time, but like he's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna do it, and I think Riddle needs to cash in and win. That moment would be incredible, but maybe they will. Maybe they will stupidly do something where Roman goes, I signed a contract where you can only cash in on this one. Because remember that's that whole thing that Riddle can't challenge for. Was it for one of these belts or was it for both of them?
I can't remember now.
I can't remember, man.
Oh, guys, help me out. Actually, I don't know why you would. We're competing here. But yeah, maybe if the wording is that he can't challenge for the Universal, then that's how they get around it. And I've completely shot myself in the foot here because it will be obvious that he should go for the WWE title, and that's the way you do it. But I feel like I've kind of done myself in already there by not doing a bit of research, because I literally heard him say it on a clip the other day, and I can't remember which one it was, or if they said kind of challenge for the undisputed title, which it might have
Probably
been.
That one.
But anyway, hey, this is the nature of these podcasts going live. Yeah, okay. Seth Rollins is going to win it for me.
Right, so
Lucas, do you want to go next?
yeah. So I don't think it'll be Sheamus. He's in there obviously as a steady hand, and a fact came out, I think, the past couple of weeks that he's the oldest active competitor on the SmackDown brand at the moment.
Wow.
And we have to just appreciate Sheamus at some point, because I think he has just been a workhorse for this company and has done every single role this company could give him, from bar fights to, pretending that, doing the leprechaun stuff, like doing all this kind of stuff. He's done every single thing. Remember 1-800 fella, whatever it was. And yeah, he always does a fantastic job. But in reality, he's now fitting into the kind of role that someone like Kane would fit into a few years back in these matches, of being able to be the guy who sets up things and kind of is able to be a little bit of a threat, but essentially he's not going to win. Though Kane did win actually in the Bank, actually saying that.
Now that you've said that, yeah.
At one point. But yeah, generally speaking, he was put in the match to be the big guy, to carry stuff basically and set up the bigger spots. Omos, who, to be fair, Riddle fits that criteria, but I think Omos does too. You know, he's coming off the back of the Lashley feud. But I think the idea of having a monster with the briefcase is, well, they done it with Braun, didn't they, before, and they messed that up. I mean, is it easier for monsters to lose them, potentially? I guess. I mean, the threat is big, but it's
I think you screw Omos up there if you mess him about like that.
It makes it very difficult. So the Riddle thing seems to be a development that's happened in the past kind of week or so. I think he only actually got added on Monday, actually, didn't he? On Raw.
Yeah, he won that.
Won a Battle Royal.
Battle Royal, yeah.
Yeah, there's not 2 Battle Royals in a week this week. What a weird week. And it does seem to be the one that would make the most sense. But here's where I differ. As I said it earlier in the stream, so obviously I'll repeat it again. But I think the person needs to take one belt off Roman. So I think the winner for me needs to be someone who I think they could do it with. And I still just think that Riddle just isn't there yet. And particularly because they've done the match already. And obviously it was awesome, it was well received, you know, and I would be up for seeing that kind of level of match again, you know, or maybe on a bigger stage like a PLE. I don't think it's going to be the case. I think they're going to fall back into safety and comfort. And there's a few ways that this goes. But I think, especially with announcing the SummerSlam main event of being Roman and Brock last man standing, I think that sets up for a cash-in from this person.
That's a good point.
Is Seth Rollins. And I also think, to be fair, like as much as... The thing is, they still haven't answered that thing from the Rumble as well. Like when Seth didn't lose and nothing came of it, ever. Seth is meant to be okay with almost winning the title at the Rumble and then just didn't win it. And then Brock Lesnar decided he was going to get him a title shot, and that was that.
I guess that's a chance for payback there as well for.
And this is where, like, you know, it won't be long-term storytelling. WWE will pretend it is, and they will link quite a lot into this, obviously, because it is. They could obviously say the storyline obviously started at the Rumble, and is now finishing at SummerSlam with the cash-in, and then obviously have a feud that goes after that. So yeah, you know what's funny, and I almost didn't rule out Madcap Moss. You know, in my kind of there's like a top 4 really, and Madcap Moss is in my top 4 because just based on going if the person needs to be someone to lose, like you just put it on like a quote unquote joke act. You know, but then obviously you look at
they want that threat though, don't they? They want
could
that
bury it
threat.
there. I think they need someone who is like a safe pair of hands.
Yeah.
So for me, I would between Seth. Well, Drew's another one I considered, but I think Drew is just big enough to be able just to win it in a match. You know, without having need the cash in. Kind of angle. Though I could also see, because it is WWE and no one into their hometown anymore, Drew winning it, announcing a cash in, and then losing at Clash at the Castle. Because why not? But that's where I'm at. Seth Rollins, I've locked in.
Seth Rollins as well. Okay, before I let you go, Rob, I'm just going to quickly get to a few more comments here as well. Will Rally Sport Rally has really jumped in and chimed in with the comments as well. I really do appreciate it. So, firstly, I've heard a lot of wrestling world say Riddle or Sami. We've kind of touched on Riddle theories there as well. We had another comment earlier on for Sami Zayn, although we haven't quite gone into it ourselves. Let's see if Rob does. Are you doing a live stream for the show? Sadly, we're not. As you know, we're Ready Sport Ready. We are here in the UK, so it's a bit late for us to do it. Maybe when things are at a more reasonable time. Riddle can't challenge for the titles, so a lot of people saying he wins Money in the Bank. See, I kind of see how they can then word around that and say, look, Riddle's, there we go, but you can now because you won this contract, and it doesn't matter that thing specifically said Riddle before. Now that I am not Riddle, I am Mr. Money in the Bank, or something weird like that. Don't like it, but I can kind of feels like that's something they would do. Not sure if it's both titles or just one. He can't. Yeah, that's what we're kind of touching on earlier. No way to Omos is winning, or should OMG shock a night if he wins. And then loving the stream up here in Cumbria. Thank you for joining us in Cumbria. Good stuff, guys. Good points. I don't know, man.
That's a bad accent.
Mate, what we need to do. So last year, Lucas did a cycle around all the London football clubs, raising money for charity. Fantastic. Well done, Lucas. And we had it on our Facebook, Rebellious Noise Facebook, REBNOISE. And what that's made me realize, Lucas, is that you need to go further than London so you can learn some more accents. Let's get that challenge going. If anyone wants to donate, we'll see if we can get going. And then finally, Madcap Moss getting a bit of a push. Beat Happy Corbin. Good point. That. Yeah, I just don't see him doing it.
Corbin at this point, though.
Yeah,
Someone said I think on the Bleacher Report kind of review of SmackDown, they kind of said he's at the moment he's just indestructible, really, Corbin, because he's one of those people where no matter what you're going to do, like, it's fine because everyone's just happy that he's in that upper mid-card spot, like, permanently.
Yeah.
But doesn't really matter if he wins.
It could have been more, though. Like, me and Rob were talking about this after Mania. Like, this could have been his chance to catapult onto the main event. Like, he could be a main eventer. Like, it's crazy. At a time when they're screaming for people to kind of be in, you know, as much as Seth Rollins, we're saying, could win this and go into that scene and then be okay not to win it. Let's be real. Seth ain't exactly shaking things up. Like, he's a character that's been at the top of the game for about 10 years. As much as I'm enjoying him, and, you know, on Talking Beans a few years ago, I remember me and Tom specifically going like, Seth ain't cool anymore. He's just not cool. And now he is cool again. He's exciting again. I do enjoy Seth. But the problem is, it shouldn't be Roman, Seth, Brock, and then Cody is the freshest thing we've got going. Like, we need to have a bit more going on here, guys.
But even Cody, respect, like, someone who's been in the business, you know, since 2007, 2008. You know what I mean?
I mean, Riddle is that chance, and I personally think if Riddle did it, him winning the title, Money in the Bank, I could see that, right? But
Is also from Vegas as well, Riddle?
I'm not sure. He could be actually, but either way, winning the title as a Money in the Bank cash in, I can see that being Riddle. Doing it against the undisputed champion Roman Reigns, I can't. It shouldn't be the case. But I've always said it needs to be a star-making thing. Whoever beats him. But I think Riddle gets that elsewhere for me. He's already kind of knocking on that door. Quick points before I let you come in, Rob. Do you agree? End of day's best finisher in WWE shot when Drew kicks out of it. Again, we kind of touched on that already just then because that's when we thought he would then get a big push after it because of it, but it didn't happen. First and only person to kick out of it. Go on, Rob. The floor is all yours.
Look, why is Baron Corbin not in this bloody match in the first place and Madcap Moss is? It's beyond me, man. I love Baron Corbin. Happy Corbin, whatever you want to call him. Like, he should be in this match. You know, touching on, we literally said if the end of days is being kicked out of, then he should be in either the main event or have a proper title run. The guy has lost the most prestigious thing of his finisher, and he's not even in a pay-per-view.
He should have been rewarded for that.
Come on now. Yeah. I mean,
he should have been rewarded, definitely.
It's saying that people that also aren't in the pay-per-view. Where's Judgment Day? Like, what's going on?
I completely forgot again because we didn't do the review. I forgot. And then we talked about what happened. I forgot that. Why? The last thing I saw about that, because I don't really watch the weeklies, is that Edge got turned on. What's happened since?
Nothing.
Is that stable dead?
Nothing.
Is that stable dead?
I've not seen him.
Oh, what is going on?
Isn't Liv Morgan in the women's Money in the Bank, though, isn't she?
Yeah, but that's it. Like,
maybe they do something with it tonight. Let's hope. Let's hope. I mean,
know.
The Finn thing, don't get me wrong, this ain't the time to really talk about it, but the Finn thing, we did kind of touch on it. Could be happening on the PLE. Didn't.
But surely, this would be a prime example of Finn being in this match and being helped to win the Money in the Bank. Like, it's
but then maybe
booking.
But then how do you make him lose if you don't want him to win it?
Yeah, but it's easy to deal with. But, you know, put Finn in this match with help from Judgment Day and still nothing.
Quick comment here, though, again, from Will Ready Sport, just touching on what you said there, Rob, about Corbin. I assume he should be in this match. Won the Battle Royal for no reason on SmackDown. Doesn't make sense, but that's Bruce and Vince for you. Yeah, I would like to see Corbin. But then again, I wouldn't believe he was going to win anyway, so what's the bloody point? You know?
I'm 50-50 because I think they're down, but they don't, though. Because if Corbin goes in the match, same with Styles. Like, Styles, the people are campaigning for him to get in the match too. But it's just a case of they need new stars. And Madcap Moss, like, obviously, you know, he's been on the roll since Mania. Like, he's someone they want to push. You know, like, they're damned with them, but don't, because it's either the same old faces, and everyone says the same old faces, and they moan about that, and they go, Where's this person? Where's this person? Ricochet's another one. Would have been perfect for this match, you know.
You do need that possibility for a breakout start. Again, I don't think I'm alone in thinking that it should be someone breaking into that top tier. So, yeah, flirting with a Madcap Moss. But realistically, it doesn't look like Riddle could, you know, cash in successfully, let alone Madcap Moss. So it seems a really wild thing to do.
I mean, if they gave it to Otis.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, true. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, Rob, in a roundabout way, I think we're getting to your point somewhere.
Yeah, mate. Look, I want to keep it short and simple. You guys have kind of covered quite a lot. This is going to be a big shock factor for especially used to anyway.
Okay. It's not Otis, is it?
But I really want Riddle to win it.
Yeah!
So much. And I'll be
okay, a little background for anyone that's new. Rob hated Riddle. And I said, I swear, I was saying he was going to grow on you. And it slowly did. Every kind of show we've done, you've kind of accepted him more and more. And I was literally watching a clip the other day of when he got into the match. And I was watching it thinking, how can Rob deny this? I reckon Rob's fully turned by now. And I'm so glad I was right.
So, yeah, there you go. So there's a big shock factor. Bigger than the Money in the Bank winner.
Wow, yeah. That's basically done it for me. It's bigger than the show.
But, yeah, I want Riddle to win. I think it's the... I think, yes, we're saying that whoever he takes on or whatever, it's going to be a bit of a cluster to kind of deal with this championship thing. But I know, and it's fantasy booking, but I honestly, seeing Brock beat Roman for the WWE Championship and then all of a sudden Riddle coming out and then just cashing in on Brock would be a huge thing because they've had all this stuff backstage and like, that would be something that I'd love to see. But yeah, for me, Riddle winning this has to happen. If it doesn't happen, I'm going to riot. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, and even that, Riddle for doing it for the moment, I think is great. Even if he doesn't win it, if this is the moment, I think Riddle can get sympathy for not doing it. I would love to see Riddle cash in and be successful. I think that moment would be fantastic as well. I just don't see it. So if we're not going to get that, then hey, we might as well get the exciting win or something like that. And is it just, well, it's not just Cena, but Cena was the first one, but first, and of course, most notable as far as I think Corbin's not successfully done it. Otis didn't do it, did he? So let's add Sandow. Yeah, so it's piling up. I mean, Riddle would kind of join a strange kind of group of misfits there, but hey, I guess it makes sense. So you want Riddle to win, but do you think Riddle's going to win?
Yeah, I do. And as I said, if he doesn't, then I'm going to riot. I'm going to boycott.
Wow, okay.
I think it makes perfect sense. I mean, as we said, you can give it to whoever, right? Whoever else is in that's this match. But the only person I can really see really doing something with it would be Seth, because the way he's done it before. But Sheamus doesn't need it. Drew's already been in that title picture. He can just keep pushing for it. Sami Zayn
also convoluted though.
Yeah, it's just I just don't see it. And to be honest,
in some ways, even though it's weird when they have not weird, but even though when they have two belts, obviously have multiple different options that could happen. You know, we've always sat with this thing of, okay, well, essentially there'd be the part-time champion and the full-time champion. So usually when it was Brock, with one belt, it's like, well, we're not going to cash in on Brock, but we're just cashing in on the other champion. But because Roman is now both champions and also part-time, and with the limited dates and stuff, it's just making it so convoluted. And obviously, because they're treating the belts all together, it makes it so complicated because now we've got to decide. Essentially, I mean, Scott's decided he wants someone to kind of cash in and lose, because that gets them out of this mess, kind of. Because then you still got to answer the question of who is going to beat Roman Reigns at the end of whatever this is, and can we go like that long? Because is it going to be The Rock next year at Mania? Like, is that where it's all leading to?
Well, we don't need it for a title. That's the thing. It's such an important match that you don't need a championship for it. It's ridiculous.
I think they'd argue that I guess they want to go in that route. Like, it's just going to be the biggest ever world championship match. it's the longest reigning champion.
But that's it. It
versus
could
the guy who's
and the family. There's so much in it with the Rock match on its own. But I mean, that's it though, isn't it? The same as every year when we're like, why have we got the legend match for a title? Same as Edge, and all that kind of stuff. And Taker's streak didn't need titles, and it's
just this company for you. It's just company for you, and only in hindsight do you see things, and you're like, of course it can happen. Like when Goldberg beat the Fiend. At the time, everyone was annoyed and confused, and why we're doing this. But in hindsight, it just makes sense. It's just WWE storytelling for you. It's just okay. Look, here's the guy.
I think we hold them sometimes to, and don't get me wrong. There's a reason why I'm a massive wrestling fan. They've told some of the best storylines, and captivated me for many years. But sometimes we do hold them to a higher standard on certain areas, and. Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm doing here because I'm like, surely they wouldn't do this, but they might. And it's hard doing these predictions because you go with what you want and what I don't even want Seth to win. I want Seth to win to get them. I'm literally thinking how would I book myself out of this corner? This is what I would do if I was hired today as WWE Booker. This is how I get us.
But don't put yourself in that corner in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. Quickly, going to go on some extra comments here as well. A little random fact for you boys. Riddle, only wrestler on WWE at the moment who wears no boots. Sad fact for you. Yokozuna, head shrinkers, Umaga also didn't wear boots. Any other big stars you remember not wearing boots? I remember Rusev not wearing boots.
He had an ankle injury, didn't it?
I'm probably going to butcher his name, but is it on NXT? Is it Solos? Is it Sikoa? Something like that? Uso's brother in the NXT. Okay. So he's also, but he wears like tape brandies. He's like a street fighter.
Gotcha.
I think it's only those two at the moment in WWE not wearing boots.
Yeah. There you go. Comment here from Roger Brown's D&D. The Rock and Roman Tribal Chief match. Is that the name of the match? Is that the stipulation? Whoever comes, I guess that makes sense as well. I thought they would have really played into that, when we all thought this was maybe going to kind of get flirted with about 6 months ago. But now they don't really use the Tribal Chief stuff. They do, but it was now they've got head of the table, bloodline, all this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. So back then it was Athen Seeker coming out and kind of anointing him and all this kind of stuff. But I still can see it going that way. Thank you for your comment there. Anyone watching live for the first time, really do appreciate it. If you don't know what this is the build-up show. What we do is we go through predictions, last minute kind of breaking news and stuff like that, and just kind of get ourselves and hopefully you guys hyped for the event, whether it's a great card that we're all excited about or one that's not so stacked that we're a bit and we kind of want to talk ourselves into, or just have a little rant about. Quickly, we're ready to talk rally again. Drew or Bobby or Cody could beat Roman, maybe Theory because Vince loves Theory. So this is the thing, Theory, I can see it in future, but he's not quite. It's a lot of this is timing. Bobby feels like that'd be a nice story, but then you think, but Bobby's not exactly a young kind of gun, is he?
Lashley, the reaction to him last month, the Hell in a Cell.
That doesn't mean he should be.
He was probably the strongest babyface.
I agree, and I think he needs to be in the title picture. But this is again another mess that they've got, and another star that they could put up there, but they're not. But it's he needs it's like the streak, why still people, as much as the Brock thing was I can't believe they did that. I think a lot of us still probably feel like it should have been maybe Edge or someone Randy on their way up, so I still feel like it needs to be someone with this. So to then say Bobby kind of feels like it defeats the purpose, but then
it needs to be someone coming.
Yeah, but so did the streak, and it wasn't. So maybe we need to get over that.
Lashley's just been incredible, for the past couple of years. You're at the stage now where anything you give the guy, he's just so good at it. He's so amazingly talented, and I think it's just I guess it kind of erases the whole. When gets a whole, we don't want 40-year-olds, on NXT or 30-year-olds on NXT. We don't want this, but it's a case of end of the day, the fans reaction to Lashley was so strong last month, so strong at Mania, so strong all the way through. I think. People, what I'm seeing now actually is, and what we have to remember, obviously we're all older wrestling fans. I'm sure I don't know how long people commenting or been wrestling fans for, but I like to. It's weird thinking that there are fans who grew up during this pandemic era programming, and who were the faces they saw on TV all the time. It was Bobby Lashley, Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre. Who really kept that company afloat, as the champions, for that period. Remember, Brock disappeared. Brock decided not to come back. Goldberg only came back to do a couple of weird matches. you know, Edge.
Yeah, but you can say that anytime Goldberg comes back.
You know, like, but those are the guys who kind of really held that company afloat.
Yeah.
And it's interesting now, obviously, you know, with 2 years, you know, since obviously that kind of pandemic era kind of went through, and the Thunderdome era, obviously a lot of fans, obviously, most likely probably even got a chance to kind of experience WWE programming through that, because it's probably a cool thing to do while you were in lockdown, not just being like, oh, I'm going to be on Raw tonight. You know? But it's like, you know, obviously, you know, seeing comments on people who you can tell they're just, you know, newer fans of this. I think Lashley is one of those guys that people always going to have that, as he was the guy who got me through like the lockdown, essentially.
Yeah.
You know, he was the champion, and he's such a great job. But it seems, he's not really in that discussion now. You know.
Quick comment here about Bobby Lashley. Bobby looks jacked. Just don't put him next to against Omos. He looked like a kid. Looks stupid. And yeah, mate, I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, Bobby looking jacked, because look at him next to me.
Find yourself somewhat.
So imagine me next to Omos. That was the interview, of course, we did with Bobby Lashley a little while ago as well. So if you haven't seen that yet, check it out on this channel. Of course, it mentions there talking about Brock Lesnar, why that hadn't happened. It has happened now, but still, it's fun to go back and hear his opinion on it. What were you going to say there, Rob?
Sorry, pal. So you stood next to Lashley, and obviously you spoke to Big E as well. Bit of a random question. I know there's a height difference in height, but who was
bigger?
like, in thickness, in like muscle wise?
In thickness,
like
big meat, because slapping meters. I don't know.
Lashley is more like ripped, but
I
Big
think
E is
E,
more
man.
thicker,
His chest is like he's
wider.
this. Yeah. So I think.
But Lashley's tall, though, isn't it?
I think let's get the image up. Hold on. Here's Lashley. Where am I with E?
You look lovely into his eyes in that photo, by the way, man.
I was loving him. Here's E.
Bit of bromance.
It's the shoulders for E. It's the shoulders and the chest.
Yeah.
And he's leaning in there. We go back to he's leaning as well. Oh, it's tough. It's a tough one. I'm gonna have to, you know what? I'm just gonna have to interview him again, put him side by side. But yeah, check out more of our content on the Rebellious Noise channel as well. Will Rally? Glad you enjoyed it. Right, let's move on to the next match. And again, Dan's not here, so Dan's gonna kind of he sent us a video for what he thinks. But the next match we're going to be talking about is this one right here. It is Ronda Rousey for and the SmackDown Women's Champion, I should say, against Natalya, the challenger. Okay, so with that in mind, let's just queue up Dan's video just here.
Next up, I'm going to go with the SmackDown Women's Championship match between Ronda Rousey and Natalya. Fairly straightforward, this one. I think the winner is going to be Ronda Rousey.
Very straightforward in the sense that he gave us no reason for it, but I guess
he was so professional. He ended with a smile as well.
He did end with a smile. That's lovely, isn't it?
He should be happy.
That's a good point. He had the ice cream. Did you see it? Let's go backwards this time. Let's start with Rob. Who do you think, Ronda Rousey, or are we going with who's the other one? Natalya.
You don't even know.
Hold on, before you do it, I forgot we did get a question asked earlier. No, that was about Bobby Lashley again. Have we done predictions for the women's Money in the Bank? Have I missed it? They got Becky. No, we haven't done that yet, but we'll be coming back to it soon. Don't you worry. So stick with us. But on to Ronda Rousey versus Natalya. Rob, who are you going with?
It's just like, as Dan said, this should be an easy one for all of us. I think Ronda's going to win it. However, I think Shayna's going to be there and kind of get not lost in who she's siding with. Obviously, she's tagging with Natty, but she's friends with Ronda. So I think there'll be like a tug of war to do with Shayna. I don't think she's going to be involved, but there'll be like a, do I help her? Do I help her? Do I help her? It'll be something like that, and it'll be left. And then that will build on. But yeah, Ronda Rousey is winning, beating Natty easily.
Why though? Why did we do it? Like, why do they have that tug of war? I mean, again, it fits this storyline, but where does it go after that? Do we finally get Shayna and Ronda together properly on screen?
Probably.
Who knows? All right, so straightforward from you, Rob. Will Ready Sports says Ronda easily. Got to say, Natty is funny on her Twitter. So I would completely agree, and that's why I want to go with this match right now. So I've really enjoyed this feud in the sense that I've enjoyed it on Twitter. At first, I thought it was. I was like, is this is this real? Is this really happening? I didn't quite get it. I was like, oh man, a bit of because to be fair to Ronda, she's had some good Twitter spats the past few years since she's been in WWE, where you can't quite tell if it's a shoot or not. So I do appreciate that about Ronda being in WWE, but I like what they did. I mean, if Shane is in it, maybe Natalya's sister's going to be in it because she's been brought into this feud online as well. But yeah, I mean, straightforward for me, Ronda Rousey. Why would Natalya be taking the belt off of Ronda at this stage? Not that I don't think Natalya's, that Ronda could ever lose it or that Natalya could ever beat her in the right circumstances, but this doesn't feel like that's what's going on. So I think Ronda's going to do it. It's a nice little for you to get both of these people by somewhere, especially Ronda getting her onto whoever she faces next at SummerSlam. But for me, this is just a feud to get us to the next feud. And again, I appreciate what they've done here. We know the history. We know behind the scenes, Natalya is the veteran, and she would kind of welcome people in, but kind of get pushed down the card herself a lot of times. If you've seen Total Divas or anything like that, you'll know this kind of thing. Or any kind of documentaries over the years that mention Natalya. Great talent, helps people along the way, sometimes doesn't get her kind of credit and doesn't get the limelight and steps back for other people. And this is a great way to kind of use that in the storyline because she was part of that when Ronda came in. She was definitely, remember the whole storyline, they used that on screen. Hey, Natalya is a veteran. She helps new people coming in, especially even Ronda Rousey. So I like that they kind of touched on that a little bit there. And that's what made me think, oh, this is a spicy storyline. When I thought it weren't a storyline, I thought, is this real? Because again, I weren't watching the weekly, so I didn't actually know what was going on. Quickly before we go into your one, Lucas, another comment here. Again, bring your comments to us. We are happy to receive them. Ronda wins, celebrates. Then Bayley comes out. My prediction, Bayley versus Ronda. SummerSlam, wait and see. Thoughts of my fantasy booking. Very interesting about Bayley there. Maybe we'll be getting to her more throughout the show. But let's get on to a bit of predictions from you now, Lucas.
Oh, that's a very interesting comment then, actually, about Bayley. They just refused to it. Yeah. It's been a long while, isn't it? It's been a long while since we saw Bayley.
A very long while. A criminally
I would be more than up for that. And I think it is probably what they need now, particularly obviously with Sasha and Naomi status to be determined, I guess. I think, because the problem with the women's division is that they just are in a bit of a lull, I feel, where they've only created a few stars and then slowly, obviously losing Sasha potentially. They've kind of where we're at now. And in a weird way, I'm going to disagree with all of you. As I thought it was an easy prediction, but the other way.
What?
I think
you do know this is a title match, Lucas.
Yeah. No, because I think Natalya's winning. I think there'd be a screw job.
Okay.
Natalya's been very specific with this. I'll make you tap out. I will. She's going down that line, which even though that sounds ridiculous as a villain, from history it tells us. Now, the thing is, it's just because when she said that line, I couldn't get out of my head. Basically. This whole make you tap, and then when Shayna got involved too, and this whole tug of war thing, I'm like, there's an outcome here where Natalya could win, and I just feel as well.
So Shayna screwing? Is that what you're saying? Shayna screwing to help Natalya?
Potentially, because I think as well, I think it won't hurt Ronda too much. I'll argue what actually hurts Ronda is her just doing the exact same thing she did last time round in the company.
Because something's got to happen next, doesn't it? Yeah. So you're right. As much as I'm saying this gets you to the next feud, maybe Bayley is that next feud.
And the thing as well, and all you need from Ronda is there's two ways you can do it too. Because you just do the rematch of SummerSlam, Ronda wins it back at SummerSlam, creates a big moment. That's fine. Because and you don't need to have Natalya hold it forever. This is the thing they need to get out. I mean, obviously, they're weird with championship things. Some titles, they go, no, you are only going to have bloody, 1 year title reigns, and that's it. You're going to beat everyone, and then when we decide we want you to lose, or when you get injured, then you lose it. There's other championships the championships that the Forgotten Championship, I guess we call them, the Intercontinental Championship, for instance. Where they just go, we'll just have it on this person for a week, and then 2 weeks later, this person will win it, and then this person will win it, and it's not going to be a thing. But I think there's more story options for Natalya winning. I think the one that got brought up by Will just then in the comment about Bayley coming back afterwards, that then does fit into Ronda like winning, I guess, and setting up a SummerSlam thing.
Yeah.
But then doesn't need the belt. You know, we talk about it a lot. Doesn't need the belt. Is Ronda versus Bayley a big enough match anyway?
Well, then what you saying Shayna screws? I'm like, where does it go, right? But I could see Shayna Ronda. That's a match. That's a match, and that doesn't need a title. But then we're going back into our kind of thinking of earlier. That is the way we want to optimistically see things, because we've said for years we need a women's title match and we need a women's feud, a grudge match that doesn't involve a title. That's what we need with the women's division, and we never get it. So this is a good chance to do that. Shayna versus Ronda. I mean, yes, they've kind of a lot of stock in Shayna has gone down over the years, and we've kind of gone into that many times. But it's a crying shame. But this match, it's not what the way it could have been promoted a year or two ago, but that could be a match. And then Natalya could have a title match elsewhere.
And, you know...
you're talking me into something else.
The room with this is obviously that the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships, they've still decided they haven't had anything for them for ages. But potentially, you could set this up as a tag, because you could have Shayna and Natalya against Ronda and Bayley if you're going to have the Bayley route as well. So obviously, there's lots of ways you could do this. There's lots of ways you could do this to make it interesting. And I just feel there's lots of options that come just from Natalya winning. And even if it's not a screw job or it's not whatever, you know, a lot of what we just said, it doesn't come to fruition. I think just having a belt bounce back isn't a problem. I think one of my most underrated kind of feuds, I think, from the last few years, now, it was over 10 years ago, was Christian and Randy Orton, because Christian was able to win the championships and bounce and then lose them without actually winning, actually pinning, and I found that very unique. So Christian has never actually pinned someone to win a world championship, because he won a ladder match,
right?
And he won a match where if Randy got disqualified or whatever, he'd lose, and then obviously Randy got disqualified for spitting. Which, to be fair, at the time, was that's petty. But COVID, man. That's brutal. That's attempted murder. Do you know what I mean? But, it's true. But, you know, I think having someone like Natalya, just giving her, because the thing, they've got all these people where they can use them better. Like Natalya winning it now, and it's losing at SummerSlam. It doesn't hurt anyone. But it makes this pay-per-view more interesting. If they're going to go ahead with Shayna being with her, that gets that in there, with Shayna and Ronda potentially having a match, can set up future tag matches. Or the alternative is Ronda wins, and then it's just, okay, maybe she goes on to face Bayley, which again is a big match. Or maybe she just goes on to face insert random woman of the month here. But it's true.
That's a good point, though. Yeah, I mean, your kind of theory does bring out more possible exciting things. I mean, yes, the simple thing of I thought is one and done. That's it. Bayley comes back. That's exciting. But the opportunity to do a Shayna situation, to do Natty winning the title when no one expected it, and you know, to have two kind of big women's feuds going on into SummerSlam. You know, there's a lot they could do it. To be honest, that is the more appealing thing to me. Now that you say it, but then at the same time, I just want Bayley back.
Ronda just hasn't really clicked for me since she returned as well. I think it's
never clicked for me at all.
It's all been too deep. I really enjoyed her first run.
Yeah.
And I was excited when she came back, though even that, it just felt like she didn't want to be there. And then it was all, you know, it was very awkward. And then Mania just felt like Mania, I guess they did throw a span in the works when obviously had Charlotte beat her. But then obviously she won. Which, to be fair, was actually the right decision, I think, because obviously that Mania had enough moments, obviously. So obviously it created a separate moment for a separate event. But it just feels a bit, I don't know, just by the numbers kind of thing. Then, like we say about everything in this company, sometimes it's just meant to be. You know, Ronda's just got a contract where she has to probably have the title for a few months, potentially. And she has to have defensive pay-per-view. And this month it is literally, whoever walked past John Laurinaitis was getting the title. Bruce Pritchard.
The thing is, though, you know, Bruce
Pritchard, a safer option.
Oh, yeah, true. We started this out saying, you know what, it's a throwaway, doesn't matter. But to be fair, we got a decent conversation out of this. And it could go many, many ways. Watch them kind of just make it nothing. Bailey don't come back. Natalya has no kind of exciting thing going on. Shayna doesn't kind of twist and turn or anything like that. Quick comments before we move on, though. Shayna, Ronda would be a great match. Badass women. Definitely agree there. Raheem Issa, that's why I fear too much consequences. Not quite sure what you're talking about there, but please get back in touch and let us know exactly what you mean. I think, is that in reference to so many things could go on with this match? Too many different types of consequences? Is that what we're saying? And then you know the deal. Don't be surprised if Charlotte comes back tonight to screw over Ronda. Nobody wants it to happen, but this is WWE. Yeah, that's a good point. If everybody's excited about Bailey, as much as then we talk about this over the years, you know, Charlotte is a fantastic performer, deserves probably some more credit than she gets, but we all know the way she's been booked has kind of damaged that. We can't take it away from her how great she is, but I personally feel Charlotte needs a bit more time. I think Bailey needs to come back first so that we don't get annoyed. You know, we don't want the Rey Mysterio coming out in the Rumble when everyone wants Daniel Bryan effect and everybody's pouring, you know, booing poor Rey.
We just want something fresh. I mean, this is what I think we're all kind of talking about. So another comment from Will. Sorry, weird question. Tonight I heard that if you in NXT and get released, it's 90 days. Oh, I'm gonna repeat. Yeah, it was 30 days previously. Yeah, I mean, I'm not too sure.
I thought it was always 90 days.
No, NXT contracts were different, weren't they?
For a period, yeah.
That was why Shane, what's his name? Shane Strickland, Swerve Strickland. He was able to debut for AEW very, very fast after he got released.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it was 30 days. And then the whole plan was when you go to the main roster, it's then 90 days.
Which is mad for people like Adam Cole, who would definitely,
Baby.
You know, this is a whole conversation for another day, but there was a time where NXT was the best show, and those were pretty big stars that just felt they were on the kind of the lower show. But so it's mad that there were stars in that. So like there was definitely a period where Adam Cole was
baby.
As...
I can't help it.
Anyway, Victor Nash, how it goes? Does anyone know? Would there be any matches on the pre-show? So we're not sure. We actually talked to them earlier, but there's nothing announced, and
they haven't done one.
They haven't done it for a few months. Really confusing. If we're still here when it starts, we'll definitely be kind of watching along. Watching along. I don't know what I'm saying. We'll do a watch along basically for the match for you. So okay, 90 days now. I think it used to be 30, but it changed it. In fact, I think you could be right there. Right. Let's again keep the comments coming. Everybody that's new, everybody that's come back before, you're already a subscriber. We really do appreciate it, and hope they keep coming through the rest of the night. We've got plenty more matches to talk about here as well. Now let's move on to the next one, which is the women. Sticking with the women's Money in the Bank match. Okay, hold on. Let's get, who have we got here? So where did I go? Okay, Lacey Evans, Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Asuka, Shotzi, and Becky Lynch. Quite a stacked one. Yeah, to me, this probably more exciting than the men's as far as like the potential for breakthrough stars and people getting their moment and somebody actually cashing in and it making sense. Right. But what we're going to do now, we are going to quickly head over to, I'm going to comment before we do. Sometimes they just talk on kickoff, Booker T, and everyone starts 30 minutes, I think, kickoff show. Yeah. So yeah, it is usually Booker just saying something exciting there. Right. Let's go into some of these clips. As I mentioned earlier on, we've got Dan on holiday sending in his messages to us by the pool. Right. Okay.
Hope he's not in the pool. I don't want to see that.
Oh yeah, it might progressively as we get along. He might be in the pool. I think it's the right one.
For the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, I'm going to go with Liv Morgan. I think it's Liv's time now. They can obviously build up to her facing off against potentially the winner of the Bianca Belair match, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Bailey show up in some capacity at this show.
Okay, so we've kind of touched on Bailey already there. Could it be here? Who knows? There's definitely a few places where she could pop up. Right. This time we'll start with Lucas.
Okay. So I hope that Bailey does not show up in this. I think that they need to get out of the position where I've said, like I said, they've established there are the main women and everyone else. And because I think if she is going to be in this, she'll have to either do the Brock Lesnar thing, I'm just kind of showing up and everyone just being like, oh, this is actually allowed. Why don't I do this every match? Just come out at the end and just pin.
I'm in this.
Or grab the ladder or grab the belt. You know, poor Ali in that. But anyway,
Oh, gosh,
it got us the Brock party at least. But or should have to do, you know, someone obviously getting injured before the match, and then there's a replacement. Which, you know, for me, it just screams of suckiness, you know, for like, especially like, say, Lacey Evans, you know, out for over a year. Asuka only just got back on television. Raquel Rodriguez only just debuted on the main roster. Obviously, Liv Morgan been given so many chances anyway. But, you know, Shotzi just coming back after a long time off. You know, it just feels a bit like a slap in the face of like anyone who was to be replaced. As much as the pot for Bayley would be good, I guess. But I think it has that double-edged effect, doesn't it? Of basically saying someone, you know, replacing someone else and saying that they're basically worse off than Bayley. And, you know, I don't think that's the right thing to do in a division which, you know, has been the target of obviously the subject of controversy following the Sasha Banks thing and Naomi. You know, I just think we need to show that no, we actually do care about all the performers in this division. Because again, like if Bayley can just come back, like why can't Doudrop just appear in the match and just be like, oh, I want to be in this match too? Like it just seems like there's all these rules that don't count for certain people, which obviously, you know. But yeah, in terms of who I think will win, so I don't think it's going to be Raquel Rodriguez. I think again she's basically the female Sheamus in this. She's just been put in to kind of.
That little whimper there from Rob.
in the sense that she's going to put in there to be the big person,
the big bad booty daddy.
It's hard to say. You wouldn't say big man, but female. You know, she is obviously. You know, I'm not body shaming her and anything, but she obviously is a bigger woman, and you know, some taller built, which is fine, obviously. But I think she'll be setting up. So you got to be so careful. It's 2022. I don't want to be cancelled.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, she's tall. We were allowed to say that.
Tall woman. There we go.
Yeah.
But I think usually they utilize obviously they utilize these people to have the monster spots and to carry the furniture around basically. Yeah. Particularly in the women's matches with respect, because you got to remember people like Alexa Bliss and Liv Morgan. You know, I mean, seeing WWE live, and that's when you realize how small they actually are. You know, like, you know, Alexa Bliss is barely 5 feet. You know, Liv Morgan again, like, you know, 5'3" or whatever. Like, there's tiny women, and obviously having to carry around like ladders and probably tables and stuff like that, and chairs, etc. Like it's.
Oh my.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, go carry on.
Oh yeah.
Really on Mick Foley, wasn't it?
The thing is. Say it's Liv Morgan's time, but we're saying it's for like 2 years.
Liv Morgan's missed her train, I think.
Watch broken or something. Maybe you should get an Apple Watch.
Yeah.
Other watches available.
Of course.
Yeah, like is it a time? Like, do they still care about this?
Well, we've said it for months. Do we still care at this point? You know, I mean, Dan's up for it. I don't know where I'm going with this yet, but. This is the danger we had about 6 months ago when they didn't pull the trigger. 9 months ago, however long it's been, you know.
Who else is in there? Sorry, Lacey, Asuka.
Oh man,
I don't know. Let's find the graphic. Let's bring it back. We got
Becky
Lynch. I mean, Becky Lynch is probably the biggest star in there.
Yeah, followed by
Alexa. Kind of was forgotten about. Liv Morgan is the one that, kind of 9 months ago should have been in the position. Raquel
is Lacey Evans' face at the moment. Is she?
Mate, I don't know. Asking the wrong man. Rob, do you know? Because she come back with those promos, and I didn't understand if they were babyface or heel.
I don't know. I think she's a tweener at the moment.
Is she? All right. Well, there we go. Raquel's just a new kid on the block. Asuka. Not much ever seems to be going with Asuka these days. And Shotzi, kind of again 6 months ago, I could see this was Shotzi, but like.
Disappeared, isn't it?
Yeah,
like the tank.
Just like the tank.
Well, so the tag team partner as well. It's lost everything.
Yeah. A few comments here. Maybe help sway you, Rob. Lucas even, sorry. I hope Shotzi wins. That'd be great. W decide just to push her, shock everyone. Watching it because I know everyone picking Shotzi, Lacey, Raquel, or Asuka. There's a lot of people there picking, Will.
Yeah,
and it's between Alexa, Liv, and picky.
You mentioned every single person.
Well, one of them's gonna
He's
win.
hedging his bets. We was hedging his bets. Lucas, I'm sure that didn't help very much.
It didn't help. The first comment kind of helped because I was thinking, okay, there's four women on there. Let me pick the one that I prefer out of those four.
Yeah.
And the second comment came and listed everyone else. This one is actually really hard because again, we've actually got decent title situations here, and obviously the potential. Like I said, all the stuff we said, obviously
two different ones as well.
Yeah, all the stuff we said, obviously previously about the Natalya situation with Ronda. Like if that was to go whichever way it goes, and there's other stories and things that could come from this. But then it's a case of is it just going to be default? Is it just going to be Becky Lynch going to win, and then she's going to cash in like a month or 2 weeks? Because I think the longest person to have it was Carmella, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah.
Every other woman just goes, one night later, that's fine. I'm not even, you know what I mean? They're all the same.
I mean, Asuka didn't even cash in.
Yeah, Asuka just got gift. Yeah, but even that was revealed the next night as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
At the time. So I said Rollins for the men.
Hold on. Before you do, let me give you some more comments here. Right.
Okay.
Might be able to help you again. Sandra says, whoever wins. I thought, okay. There's going to be someone here. So I waited for their second comment.
Yeah.
Thinking this will be the answer. Whoever wins, ... It'll be such a... Right, really? Whoever wins. Sandra's next comment. Perhaps. I don't know what is the perhaps to? What was that in reference to? Let us know, Sandra. Who do you think's going to win? Help Lucas out.
Maybe they're doing it on purpose. But yeah, if you could talk,
Don't help him.
It'd be very, very helpful.
No, don't help him.
To reply to your comment. Thanks to them as always. But maybe say a name. Then we can obviously have talk about it.
Hold on, a few more comments. Does women's money in the bank go on before other women's title matches? See, this always changes things as well, doesn't it? It's hard to figure out these things when you don't know what's going on first.
I'm gonna say I don't give a damn because I don't want them to say like cash-ins.
Yeah, let's kind of have a break from that. Another thing from Will here. Sorry, is Alexa, Liv, Becky going to win this match? You read my comment wrong. No offense. I said no one is picking Shotzi, Raquel later. Gotcha. Okay.
I wasn't obviously offended by what you said, whatever. It's just obviously, it's just a bit stressful.
There's a lot going on here, guys. Another message here from Victor Nash. As much as I like Liv to win, I prefer Alexa simply because she's way better on the mic. I think Alexa kind of...
I honestly don't know.
I'm making it harder for you now. But I would say... I would say Alexa... wait, no one's got one of those devices around, have they? Alexa should have been rewarded a long time ago for the crazy year she had with Bray Wyatt, and she wasn't. It's a bit strange here.
She's been pushed, she's been.
I know, but Sandra's back anyway, saying Nash, good vibes. I guess that's supposed to one of those emojis. Are you saying Kevin Nash is going to win, or is that in reference to Victor Nash saying that they want Liv to win?
I mean, if Kevin Nash is in this match,
Kevin Nash,
I have no idea what's going on.
Kevin Nash is winning.
I mean, look, you guys are all confusing me, so I'm just gonna go with. Do I go out there or play it safe? Okay, wait, show the graphic again. Let me just dismiss
it. Okay.
This is my final thoughts. So the graphic again. So I don't think people can Raquel Rodriguez. I don't think it's going to be Becky Lynch. I think it's just too obvious, especially as I said Seth. Though I guess I could do the whole Mr. and Mrs. Money in the Bank gimmick, but that just feels a bit sickening. I don't think it's going to be Asuka. I don't think it's going to be Alexa Bliss. So I'm between Liv Morgan, Shotzi, and Lacey Evans. Out of those three, I would prefer it to be Liv Morgan, but I just don't think her time is ever coming. Cena's time is now, apparently, but Liv Morgan's time is never.
Liv's time was up before it begun, sadly, it seems.
And I will go with Lacey Evans because I think she's a babyface and she's doing the whole thing. I think she's a babyface.
I like the fact that we've come through all this and you've gone for someone you don't know if they're a heel or a face.
I think she's a babyface, but to be fair, they do a lot of flip-flopping. So even if she's not a babyface, she could just become one.
Okay, that's a good point. All right, so you're locking that in, yeah?
Weekend, and I think her gimmick is...
she's doing quite...
military
American.
wife,
Yeah,
army
but I
wife,
think,
and they love
yeah,
all that stuff,
dependent.
don't they?
They were doing it all over the place. It seems like a face thing. Then I heard people took it as a heel kind of thing. Okay,
It's hard because everywhere outside America we hate war, but in America, like it, and with WWE, they've always promoted this whole, she was in the Navy.
I guess it depends on your. Yeah, I guess
she's just that and the other, and it's July 4th weekend, which obviously is like their massive thing.
Big deal, yeah.
But yeah, I have no.
That's when the mega powers exploded.
I have no other reason than that. And again, like sometimes, like the reward, I guess as well, because I'm going back to obviously before she got pregnant. Obviously, she was meant to win the women's championship, wasn't she? Before she left in 2020, in 2021, wasn't it? Yeah, all that time ago, back when Ric Flair was going to say that he was the father.
Back when Ric Flair was retired.
Yes.
He's back in the active roster now. This is a different one.
Oh,
what a time.
It's a mad time for wrestling. You need to keep your eyes peeled for the channel because, we got a lot to talk about.
As always.
But yeah, my pick will be Lacey Evans. Someone else speak now.
Lacey Evans. Okay, right. Let's get to a few comments. You're going to lock in Lacey Evans. We've got, hold on.
We've got someone else saying everyone in the match.
Piling in. Hold on. There we go. Will says, Becky, I've got myself, her, and Seth Power couple like Britt and Adam Cole, baby. And you mentioned earlier on, there we go, rub back together. You mentioned earlier on, Lucas, about you didn't want Mr. and Mrs. Money in the Bank. That would be quite reminiscent to, obviously, the Owen Hart, the winner of the Owen, as they're calling it, for Britt and Adam Cole, which was a nice touch, by the way, I will say. Next up, Will said, that is sickening, you're right. Your deal says Becky wins, cashes in at SummerSlam versus Bianca loses in 25 seconds. Wow, that will be great. Sandra says, hope Liv wins again with a good vibe.
Full sentence, thank you.
These are meant to be emojis, these good vibes and stuff like that, but we're not seeing them coming up. So which one's good vibes? I'm going to say this.
I'm like cool or like
next up, Will says what Lacey has. No way would a match be shocked if she wins. I do feel like a year ago I wouldn't have been shocked. 2 years ago I wouldn't have been shocked. Or different opinions. That's what chatting about wrestling's cool. Thank you very much. We'll completely agree. Everybody, bring in your different opinions, or if they're the same, and we'll kind of make a little tally. Maybe not. It's a lot of work. Sandra, back at it again. Lacey Evans to win. It will be contradicting. Yeah. Would it? I don't know. It's confusing. Victor, again, I can see Lacey Evans winning too. Women's right. Someone on top of the ladder. Yeah, I mean, that's it. When you start visualizing how these matches are going to go down, it's all well and good saying this person seems like they're in for a push, but you got to visualize how these matches are going down, and you can start to feel these things taking place in your predictions. Things are hard to predict here. You're completely right there, Sandra. Oh my goodness. Yeah, but Lucas, he's lost. And just on that note, by the way, guys, this is the build-up show. What we usually do on the night of a PLE event is we will kind of have this real laid-back, as I'm sure you're aware and can tell by the way the stream's gone so far, a real laid-back, fun approach to building up for the main event that is on later on that evening. Well, some would say we're the main event. I'm joking. Right. Anyway, we build up for the show. Terrible joke that. We build up for the show, and we usually do our predictions and previews a week before. A week prior, we do our predictions and preview podcast. Then the night of the event, we do this build-up show. Then the day after, we come back for a recap and review. Now, strangely enough, our regular scheduled broadcasting kind of, whatever you call it, has been kind of all over the place. We didn't do a review for Hell in a Cell. We didn't manage to do a predictions for this, which is why we're chucking them in here. But usually on a build-up show, you will still get this chaos because we'll have our predictions, but they are previously locked in from a week ago. And then we kind of knuckle down on, you're not allowed to change, but would you have changed if you had a chance? New matches get announced. We do allow ourselves to go with that one as well. Right. So what we're going to do in just a moment is we are going to move on to the next match. No, we're still on the same match, aren't we? Oh my goodness, hold on. Quickly, Victor, I wouldn't be surprised, I should say, if WWE is going to push the dark horse and have Shotzi win. Oh my gosh, all these. That's it.
This is what they do to you. Because they build. WWE's always been about this underdog thing, hasn't it? Since day dot, essentially. And we always want to root for the underdog. And in this match, there's just so many different options and multitudes. And honestly, like Will said, like we're all wrestling fans. We all want to have discussions. We all want to talk about wrestling. And obviously, we even here on our panel, we will say stuff that we disagree with each other with, but it's all in this love of obviously loving the community and loving wrestling. So don't ever want people to comment and thinking that if I or Scott or Rob or Dan,
yeah, if we shoot down your idea and if it ain't because we don't like it,
personally think against you, is because as much as your idea might be really good, we have an idea we think's really good or an option because it's what wrestling does to you because it's storytelling and storytelling obviously has all these open ends, doesn't it, to go off at, and especially in WWE because it just feels like nothing is really ever set in stone. So it's the case of tonight.
Especially the past few years,
an idea just comes into Vince's or Bruce's mind.
Yeah,
just,
he could be watching the build along and go, those guys have got it. So what do you guys could influence Vince McMahon? Who knows? All right, well, okay, I'm going to bring up the graphic because I'm now going to spend some time thinking about this one as well. Okay, right. So we've got Becky Lynch. And I'm going to try and do it a little bit of how Lucas was doing it just there. Becky Lynch. Now, I don't really feel personally. I don't know.
How do you not know?
Shut up, man. She's a massive star, but I just don't see her winning. Hold on. Now that I'm on the big screen, I just realized you sent a private little comment there, saying, "Are you drinking out of a vase or a vase?" Huge. Depending on your. What are you talking about? Huh?
It's massive. It's like this big. It's like bigger than my head.
We still not talking about my drinking apparatus here. Yeah, we're talking about someone else.
No,
right. Come on, now you.
The vase.
This is a family show. This is a family show. Right. Anyway, the vase. It's not a vase. It's just a big drink. It's meant to have a screw top. It's for the gym. You know, I ain't like you. Someone mentioned
when do you go gym?
Every 15
when
minutes.
do you go
I don't
gym?
go gym. I just need to drink water because that's a little bit healthy. And earlier, did you notice I was drinking out of this as well? People seeing this probably think, you know, a Boston Red Sox fan. If I was drinking this way, you might think I'm a Yankees fan. But, you know, I'm not necessarily either. It's just from the London series they had here. These actually stack up, mate.
Do they?
Yeah, they stack. It's so that you can get loads of drinks. This is from the London Stadium. There we go.
Interesting.
There you go. But anyway, yeah, just talking a bit about my drink apparatus there. Right, let's get back into the match, though. Hold on. Let's go with Becky Lynch. I think biggest star in the match, but doesn't need to win it. But WWE probably will not have said that, but she doesn't need to win it. Alexa Bliss, another big star. Yeah, I don't see where that goes. Liv Morgan definitely could have pulled the trigger of her a million times. Maybe tonight is the night. Now, this is where it gets a bit more interesting. Raquel Rodriguez. I think too soon. It's not quite that star-making moment for her, I don't think. Lacey Evans. I mean, she's never really been top tier, has she? So that kind of makes sense to me. She was nearly there. Asuka, at times, been and gone for this sort of thing. And Shotzi, at times, been and gone in the sense that she nearly could have been that person for me. But yeah, they've kind of took their foot off the pedal with her quite a bit. Now, Rob, you said it as if like this should be easy for me. What do you mean? How do I not know? This is tough, man. Is it because I ain't been watching the weeklies? Is that why me and Lucas find it harder?
No, I already have a prediction in place. I've been waiting for you to make your prediction. I'm ready.
All right, I'll make it quick then. I'll make it quick because Rob's really. I just want to see what Rob's on about now. Cocky son of a. Right, I'm gonna go. I've been suckered into doing this so many times, so I don't want to do it again. But Liv Morgan. Yeah, I think Liv Morgan. Go on, Rob. Tell us who it is. Obvious.
It's got to be Liv Morgan, isn't it?
Oh, okay. There we go. Hey, Liv Morgan's winning. Before I let you get into the why, I've kind of already said my few more comments here. Drinking out of a vase. It's not a vase. It's not a vase. I told you, it's not a vase. What else have we got? This time around, that's what it's, yeah, vase or vase. This time around, people proving us new blood. Shotzi. Cool cup. Yeah, there we go. Fell to sleep because of this match. Yet tomorrow have lectures. Oh, man. Hope they don't misuse my sleep. They better not. No, Sandra, I don't know where you're coming from in the world here, but over here in the UK, yeah, I know that feeling all too well. Staying up all night for a WWE show and being like, I wish I went to bed halfway through and watched the rest of the morning.
Yeah, but the last time you were there and it was the daytime and you was in America, you went it doesn't feel the same.
It's
just so used to it in the night time.
Yeah, it's strange, but still, but you kind of want it to be good though. Yeah, so hopefully, well, firstly, Sandra, thanks for joining us. Secondly, hope your lectures go well tomorrow. And thirdly, I hope you do enjoy this event.
Sunday lectures, that's not very nice, is it?
I want to know what the lecture's on as well. I'm intrigued now.
Yeah, we're all family here. We're getting to know each other. Okay. Will as well. As close on the call this match. Toughest prediction of the night. Do you guys agree? I mean, I agree. Rob definitely doesn't. Look at him doing it straight away. Casual. You know the deal says, just want to see Asuka give someone green miss at the top of the ladders. Be a great spot. Good point, actually. Yeah, another one of those visual things that you can definitely see happening. I'd love Liv to win a match. To win, watch me, as she says Will there. So yeah, kind of straightforward in the end for some of us there. Going with three of us really going for Liv, but Lucas going for Lacey. Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit more, Rob?
It's about time that she bloody won, isn't it? Like it's been a long time coming. And I said, look, let's face it, if Opus can win it, Liv Morgan can definitely win it. So that's my thing. And like I said, it's been a long time coming. So you know, I want to see it happen.
Another comment here from Will. Massive fan of Liv, most improved wrestler in WWE. Definitely up there at the top of that tier. I would say I would have to agree with you. And Sandra as well says, I assume this is in reference to
your vase.
Carrying a pot. Hydrate, yes. Again, I'm sure that's not a demand to hydrate, even though that's a good one to do. That was probably an emoji. Could have called it an emoticon there, showing my age.
You can't see them on the
yeah, I know. It's a shame. Why can't we see him? Maybe other people can. I've seen before when we've had streams. I remember at Halloween, the streams got Halloween themed. Yeah. And they were showing up like that. But then I couldn't see it on another stream. It was another way. I don't know. Are you guys seeing emojis? Let us know, as well as who you think's going to win.
And also, let us know what your lecture's on. I'm still wondering.
Yeah, Sandra, let us know. And also, if you've just joined us, we had a big debate earlier about the men's Money in the Bank. Let us know who you think is going to win that. Fine, we've touched on it already. We probably won't go too deep into it. But do you think that the person cashing in will cash in on both titles? How do you see it? Are they two titles? Is it undisputed? Can you challenge for one, not the other? What's going to go on there? How do you see these titles at the moment? And with that being said, I think it's time to move on to the match. To the next match is what I was going to say, but I tried to save the fumble there. Didn't quite work. We've got another women's match, the Raw Women's Title match. This time we've got Bianca Belair versus Carmella. Okay, and with that, it's now time to throw it over once again to Dan at the swimming pool. Let's see what he has to say about this one.
Talking of the Raw Women's Championship match, I am going to go with a Bianca Belair retention over Carmella. I don't think this one's really going to get started that much, but I think, Bianca is going to go over in this one.
Okay, nice and simple there again from Dan. Bianca Belair is going to be the winner, according to him. Who should we go with first? Let's go with you, Rob.
Yeah, nice and easy. Bianca's winning. I think they're doing something different with Carmella. Obviously, her and Zelina was before. I think they lost the women's tag team championships to Naomi and Sasha. So I think they're going to try and look at doing something with that again. So that's where Carmella's going to fit in. So I don't think she's going to have that title. So Bianca's retaining.
Nice and easy there. 2 for Bianca. Okay, I will go next. Why would Bianca? Why would she be losing this match? It doesn't make any sense to me. Unless someone cashes in on her, I don't see a reason for her to lose the title. Number one, and sometimes we say these things about these wrestlers like Carmella winning. It doesn't mean that Carmella doesn't deserve that spot, or in another kind of storyline couldn't be seen in that spot. But let's be real, that's not what's going on between these two women at this moment in time. This doesn't look like a space where Bianca's going on to something else because Carmella is now going to be the champ, or Bianca's going to chase Carmella. It just doesn't feel like that for me. So for me, it's a straightforward one once again, going for Bianca Belair. How about you, Lucas?
Yeah, I don't like Carmella. It just feels like it's just the person who walked past Bruce first, or Corey just saying give my missus a title shot.
Come on, man. You can't say that. That's unfair. That's unfair.
She has nothing compelling to bring to the match. Bianca Belair is just obviously in a class of her own, really, in terms of her athleticism, the fact that the stuff that she can do in the ring. And I think that this doesn't feel like there's any substance to this feud, other than her just being a villain of the month for Bianca to face. And because I said, obviously, I think Natalya should win against Ronda, this was another reason why I'm like, okay, Bianca should win, but it feels like very much like they're both very similarly booked in the sense of they're just going to keep winning for a long time until WWE just go, oh, actually, now you're going to lose. And I think it works and it's fine for Bianca. I think she deserves this long run, particularly, obviously, with the negative reception for her losing last year at SummerSlam the way she did. Not who she lost to, but how she did. I think this time round, give her a good little run, with it. Maybe have her lose at Survivor Series or later in the year, or even at the Rumble. But Ronda, I think she could deal with a loss. But yeah, Bianca Belair. But interesting, Dan saying you didn't see the match getting started though. Like in terms of, I think it was like, I don't think he meant like how it did. I think he meant like it'd be like a short match. Yeah, to be fair, I probably see it going that way too. And I hope the same night cash in as well.
So we've got a few kind of here again. We're again with Bianca easy, no way, Carmella winning. Can you imagine? Jeez. Unless Bayley interferes, beats up Bianca and Carmella, no way. But so this is another example where Bayley could come into play, and she needs to come back soon, guys. I mean, come on. Another comment here as well. I'm picking Corey Gray's new bride, Carmella, winning. And if she does, then the face will win the Money in the Bank ladder match. Again, a great example there of it's really hard to tell. Once certain matches go certain ways, you start thinking different ways about other matches. And then, of course, depends which match comes first. And
same with the Rumble, isn't it?
Yeah, the Rumbles are exactly that. Always the same way there as well. So, it's quite a straightforward one, unless there are shenanigans, as Will said there, or as Victor said, because there's going to go a certain way with the Money in the Bank. Okay, still waiting, watching for Sierra Leone. Bambamara, thank you very much. Join us from Sierra Leone. There we go. Yeah, let us know. Where are you watching from? Let us know. Where in the world are you joining us from, guys? Let us know in the comments. But also, let us know what you think is going to happen tonight at Money in the Bank. Not only what do you think is going to happen, what would you like to see? Where would you like Bayley to come back if she's coming back? We've really talked ourselves into this Bayley return now. It's going to be annoying.
Well, the thing is,
I'm good with it.
I'm just getting blown away by all these comments and kind of sucked into their kind of Bayley hysteria. Who knows if it's
these comments, man,
even going to happen? Exactly. And we really do thank you very much for sending our way. If you're brand new here, thanks for joining us. And if you're not, thanks for coming back. Please subscribe either way. When is the match starting? Well, the first one starting will be at 1 a.m. for us UK time. So wherever that channel's up for you. Unless we do go with the pre-show, which actually starts in about 2 minutes, actually. Victor Nash, I'm in the States. Thank you, Victor, for joining us. You definitely get to watch it at a much more reasonable time than we do. But again, no matter where you're coming from, watching the stream tonight, we really do appreciate it from all around the world. Whereabouts in the States, Victor? Let us know. And Sandra, streamer from Africa. Nice one. As well. Let us know where in Africa as well. Will Penrith, I'm guessing that is. I know of Cumbria. I'm not too familiar with Penrith itself. That is that impressive, or as nice as Sierra Leone. I'm sure Cumbria's got its elements.
Lucas, do your Cumbria accent again.
Yeah, do your Cumbria accent.
Why, man?
Let's stay away from accents before they get really bad. Okay, we're gonna move on now to the next match. Hold on, if I can find where we are. We are now going to talk about. No, there's two more. We've got Theory versus Bobby Lashley is what we're going to talk about. And of course, stick with us. We are, as long as we stick around, we're going to be talking about other subjects as well as we go through. But yeah, Theory versus Bobby Lashley. And now let's bring up Dan, the magical man, on holiday once again. Now, I got to mention before I put these clips up of Dan, he did say that he couldn't move his camera a certain way because there was a topless woman behind him. So, we nearly got a strike on YouTube there. Thankfully, Dan managed to work away from that. Quickly, before we go on to Dan dodging the topless lady, we've got Miami, Florida, where I reckon you'd get quite a few on those beaches. And The Rock's hometown, of course. Okay. Oh, Uganda. Nice one. Okay. Nice one, Sandro. Thanks for joining us from Uganda. And a little comment here about Cumbria. Sheep's, farms, forest, lake district. That's Cumbria. You should be the spokesperson for Cumbria. That you've sold it. I actually want to go to Cumbria now. As well as Uganda, Sierra Leone. I kind of messed that one up. And Miami, Florida. Never been to Miami. Been to Orlando.
Just sounds so exotic, doesn't it, Sierra Leone?
All these places do, including Cumbria.
And where are we?
Sounds exciting. And here we are. Well, just in and around London and the outskirts, really. But, you know, it's, anyway, let's get to Dan. Dan is on holiday, as I mentioned. Where is Dan again? He's in Spain, right?
Yeah, Fuerteventura.
That's a hard one to say, that one for me. It's one of those where I always see it written down. I never actually heard someone say it out loud. So, until Dan said it.
Yeah.
Right, anyway, what was the match? Okay, Theory versus Lashley. Here we go. Dan dodging the nudie woman behind him. Let's see.
Theory versus Lashley for the United States Championship. I reckon this is going to be a Theory win. I think the baby oil is going to play a part. Potentially could be that he uses it to get out the hurt lock and then roll Lashley up for the 1, 2, 3. Obviously not going to bonus point it because I ain't stupid.
All right, okay. A few things to say about Dan's prediction then. Number one,
that's his theory.
When he said, wait. When he said about the baby oil, I don't know if he's talking about the nudist person behind him or if he's talking about the match. Secondly, if he is talking about the match, this is where I should watch the weeklies because I ain't got a clue what he's talking about. I assume Theory's been oiling himself up to maybe potentially get out of the hurt lock now. What are you laughing for, man? I'm a journalist here. And the third point is he said he ain't going to use that bonus point because he ain't stupid. But let's be fair, Dan. Bonus points doesn't mean you're stupid. It just means you're brave. Sometimes you can fall into being stupid with it. But sometimes it's a very wise thing to do. If you don't know what we're talking about, guys, here on the channel, we have a predictions table. And it goes like this. Throughout the year, we do it WrestleMania to WrestleMania. It runs as a season. Dan is currently top of the table, 12 points. Lucas on 11. I'm on 9. Rob, you are strolling behind, boy. You are on 7. And that is quite funny to me, being that you are the reigning, defending heavyweight champion of the world. Have you got your trophy around to show off?
Come on, right behind me, pal.
There you go. Mine from the previous season. Hold on.
Hidden behind your bars, is it?
Rubbing it in.
Hey, why? What? You got one, Lucas?
No,
you got
one.
Oh, you might get one this year, though. You're doing well this year.
I've got a championship behind me,
There you go.
Well, I'm just conscious. I'm watching the pre-show at the moment.
Yep.
Which has just started. So the kickoff show. Sorry, though. I think the pre-show term is banned, isn't it? The kickoff show. Interestingly, the arena has a green seats, which is making it feel even more like Money in the Bank. And they're showing.
If it's green, you know Riddle's winning.
They're showing clips from Instagram at the moment. But yeah, sorry. Back to.
No, well, a few things here on the pre-show, actually, the kickoff. It says the matches started. See you there. Well, there's no matches, though. Is there no matches yet?
No, there's no matches, no.
Okay, well, getting in yet. Kickoff started. Also, Victor, the countdown for the Money Back for me doesn't start until 30 minutes before Money in the Bank starts. Do you mean quite literally, as in you can't watch it where you are? Or I guess, or do you mean it doesn't count, like, there's no point watching that first half hour because there's not much going on. I assume that's what you mean on these. I mean, we're a lot more fun anyway, Victor. You got to be honest. Stick with us. And then Will saying Theory squirted baby oil and Lashley's face on Raw. That's what he meant. It was awful. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound fun, especially for Lashley. But yeah, I didn't see that. Lucas, do you mind taking the reins with this one?
Okay. So yeah, I think Theory's winning, but they're gonna have to do something so that it doesn't make Lashley look too silly.
Okay.
So I guess there's no way really though, but yeah, it's going to be a roll-up finish most likely, because I can't see Theory losing so soon. Lashley could deal with this win, to be fair, but it just depends. I guess maybe I get a feeling they're kind of holding Lashley in reserve, I guess, for the potential, bigger title match again against like someone like Reigns or whatever further down the line. But yeah, I think at the moment it would be the right decision for Theory to retain.
Okay, Rob, why don't you go next?
Do you know what? Like, in the nicest way,
You don't care.
I'm fussed, but I'm not fussed. Like, it's a ridiculous feud because, in my opinion, Cena coming back and him doing all this stuff, like planting seeds and stuff, it was something I would have rather seen because they could have struck while the iron was hot with that. Obviously, you still had this feud with Lashley going on. Like, it just felt like there were a lot of stuff was unresolved from the Mania with like Pat McAfee and I just felt like they're trying to push Theory in a way to like he can do this, he can do this, he can do this, but he's not really. Obviously, he's
doing
done
anything.
Yeah, but he didn't do anything. You know,
Yeah.
As great as the guy is, they're throwing him into so much stuff so quickly. We're not having enough time to digest it and really see what he's capable of, and that's what's winding me up with him because he could be. It's got this heel run. He could be a top babyface in time. And I think that's what they're gonna do, and officially like transition him over, and he could be like another new Cena or Hogan, and like that sort of. Do you know what I mean? He has that potential, but I just at the moment they're kind of throwing him here, there, and everywhere, and I don't really enjoy it. Even this feud, it's just I don't know that they had the pose off, and then they done the baby oil thing, and it's unnecessary. Like you don't need any of that. Like I get a build, but they could have done it so much better. And it just makes Theory look like a coward. And if he's talking how great he is, he wouldn't be a coward. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but isn't that the just typical heel stuff?
Yeah.
You know, but I know it's so,
Rather
especially that it's
different
done on screen. It's kind of like the Chosen One thing, you know, with it's been said on screen. Vince has said, he said it to Cena, you know, like I'm the guy sort of thing. But yeah, he's not, you could argue he's US champ. Like, what else could he do? But it doesn't feel like a natural growth kind of thing. It feels like we're being told he's the next big thing, but he's not building up. And that obviously that reminds me of Brock. But you think about Brock, the way he gradually kind of just went through people, you know. So it's a strange one. I
think if there was ever a time, this would have been a perfect thing for Theory to have the Money in the Bank. We were talking about someone that needs it, that could really do something with it. Theory would be perfect in this position.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously that isn't the case. But yeah, look, I'm going Theory because after this is done, it can move on to something else. You know, if Bobby Lashley wins, then he beats Theory, then they've got to have another match. If Theory does it, he can like, oh, I've already won it. I don't want to face you again. But you know, and I think breaking out of the Hurt Lock, as was said with baby oil and stuff like that, it can play a part and kind of just get it over and done with. So I sort of Theory to win and then move on to something else. You know, neither of these guys need that.
Gotcha. Right. Getting to a few more comments here. Just clarifying there from Victor. No, direct just has the ordering for until the pre-show starts. So do you not get the first half hour of the pre-show then? Is that what happens then? You don't get a full hour of the kickoff. Sandra says, before I go, thank you guys for great predictions. Hope to chill with you again, especially Lucas. Oh, yeah, Lucas. Hey, get a double shout out there. No, I really do appreciate that, Sandra, Victor, everyone else that's joined us as well.
That was that bad accent, that's why.
Yeah, of course, those who haven't commented as well, we know you're there. It's fine. That's fine. But yeah, we'd love to hear from you as well. But yeah, really do appreciate Sandra and everyone else that's joined us. Please subscribe and make sure you do join us again. Yeah, definitely. Will says got Theory. Sorry, it's a tough one. But Vince loved Theory, so can't see him losing the US title at the moment. Victor has clarified as well who he would see winning. I the Almighty to win back his US title. And Sandra coming back again. Vince at the moment has to bear the pain. Theory has to face the real field Money in the Bank. It's a shame. Yes, it really is a shame. You just mentioned it there. Theory in the Money in the Bank would have begun. Only get 5 minutes of kickoff. That's strange. That is really strange. I mean, what about go on YouTube though? But then again, we're on YouTube. Stick with us, Victor. Don't worry about it. I don't know why I'm trying to explain watch something else. Watch us.
Nothing's happening at the moment anyway.
So. Nothing's, Lucas keeping an eye on it anyway for us. It's all good.
The way the lights are changing different colours, I keep thinking he's got a disco ball in the side of his bedroom.
He might do. He's not watching the pre-show.
They pretty much showed like a Money in the Bank kind of video highlighting stuff, and they did a very good job of editing out everyone who no longer works there.
Okay.
To the extent where they were so zoomed in on a clip of Kevin Owens doing something to Ricochet, because I'm assuming that's the one that Daniel Bryan was also in.
Mm.
That it was so blurry, and I was like, this match should have been in HD, but it's basically in 240p.
But then again, they wanted to show him off recently, didn't they? In that thumbnail, they made it clear Daniel Bryan was showing up on Raw with that message to John Cena. And
I was
Jericho
reading
as
about
well.
that just a second ago. If you want some information,
Go on.
hang on, let me get that bad boy up. So Tony Khan has explained how this deal will come about. Hang on, it's loaded.
Oh, I saw the headline, but I didn't. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so basically, WWE directly reached out to Tony Khan and basically said, look, it's. I think when people ask for a reasonable favor, I'm a good Samaritan. There's no reason why we can't help out. In this case, they're just trying to be a good Samaritan, do the right thing to help out. If you think there's a good cause. In this case, John Cena's 20th anniversary show, I think that's great. Sounded like a classy show. So WWE reached out to me personally and asked if we could send in photos from top stars. They asked for Jericho, Paul Wright, Bryan Danielson, and Mark Henry. Henry's the only one that didn't air. But yeah, man, like I mean, the fact that they asked him directly, there's obviously bad blood between them because of the rivalry and blah blah blah, which I think is ridiculous. We've had a conversation on this before. It's wrestling, man. We've got so much of it. Enjoy it.
Exactly that, yeah.
I think it's the fans.
I think it's great for Tony Khan to do this because he could have easily said no, and it would have been petty. But WWE other times have definitely said no to things like this. They're not so bad now. Obviously, the Slammiversary thing, for example, AJ Styles a few years ago when they traded Christian Cage for Ric Flair as well.
Yeah, but then we had Mickey James in the Rumble.
Exactly, yeah. So I think it's a good sign. It's a great thing. And I think you got to be honest, whether or not you're a fan of AEW's products or Tony Khan's business or whatever it is, or him personally or anything like that, you got in mind that ultimately Tony Khan is a wrestling fan and he wants to show respect to someone like John Cena. Tony Khan respects John Cena and the WWE. Yeah. He really does. And I think for him to kind of allow this, I think is a great thing as well. So it's a nice little story, isn't it? So
yeah, I think with this as well, it's a case of, didn't Triple H say, I think when obviously the Forbidden Doors conversation started as well, we kind of said that they were open for doing stuff if the right opportunity kind of comes up. So I think, don't go into Dream Match Central thinking you're going to get to see Omega versus Lashley or whatever, or Omega versus Lesnar or whatever the ones are, Omega versus Styles, etc. Like that's not happening. But I think definitely, like if there's things like this that pop up, I think WWE are now looking at each one case by case. Which, as much as it's not obviously AEW Forbidden Door and bringing in half of New Japan to pay-per-view levels, it is still, from a WWE perspective, for them to even acknowledge that anything else exists is a big step. Because the amount of stuff they did, even you look at Sting's kind of, treatment in the WWE, when they just pretended that he left WCW 14 years ago and just walked into the
sat in the rafters,
untrained, for all that time. Where they could have just said, look, he wrestled in Impact.
Yeah.
He became a world champion elsewhere. Whereas even nowadays they do that, don't they? They say it about certain people. They say that obviously people have had world championship reigns elsewhere. They've said it with the Cody thing.
Cody is a great example,
him obviously wrestling elsewhere. So I think, now it is a case of if the right opportunity comes up, then they will be willing to talk. And it's business in the day. It's business. In the day, it was good business for Big Show and Daniel Bryan to make appearances on WWE program and talk about John Cena. So that's why they reached out, to make it seem like a big deal, and it obviously helped with that rating, and it got the thumbnail, and
Exactly.
But then obviously
they know what they're doing.
Are WWE going to do more of the stuff the other way? Like obviously, will they allow, I was saying that though they did allow on WrestleMania weekend last year Chris Jericho to appear on the podcast. I know a Stone Cold podcast. I know Vince wasn't too happy about it afterwards, but they did allow it at first.
I forgot all about that, man. What a weird few years it's been in wrestling.
AEW was mentioned. It was mentioned by name by Chris Jericho. On that podcast. So it does seem that the Forbidden Door is not fully open. Maybe the window is just cracked open.
Just a jar.
Just a jar, yeah.
All right, quickly get some more comments before we do more of these predictions. Sandra says, let me hope I'm not the only girl here interested in wrestling. Yes, let us know. We want to know if there's more. But no, I mean, maybe on this stream, who knows? But definitely not in the world. We've seen a lot of, and that's a great thing with the women's revolution.
This card's 50-50, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. But yeah. Another message from Sandra. The kickoff show is really annoying.
Yeah, don't watch that, then watch us.
But yeah, Lucas, you're keeping an eye on it. Anything interesting happening to you?
It's just been the videos.
And again, like you say, they get shown on the main show anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Which, it baffles me. Just put a match on. Just, there's enough of the work there.
They used to, didn't they? They used to. So what is going on there? Right. So I'm lost where we are. Have we all done ours except for me? Am I the only one? Yeah. You've all said Theory. I kind of attempted to go with Lashley. I think the easy thing to say is Theory, because although
you want the points,
I kind of feel like he's not doing much. Well, the points is one thing, but like if he loses it, what does he do next? That is an issue. Number one, and does it damage him? But secondly, I think they know that Lashley kind of has a lot behind him at the moment, and they risk kind of letting that burn out. And if they're not going to push him for the main title, because he definitely was hinting that, I don't think that was a directive from the company or behind the scenes or anything like that for him to get that merch kind of version on the title at the last event. I don't think they wanted him to do that, but he did. And they get on commentary like he's coming for a title, but. Maybe that's the one they give him, the US title, to keep him at bay and kind of fulfill that kind of potential for a massive babyface while there is no kind of separation of the two main titles. We've talked about in the past, when you don't have the main title on one brand, do you push the IC more? Do you push the US more? I don't know. So, maybe do I go with the points there? What else does Lashley do, and where does Theory go? That's the only thing I'm thinking. I think in normal circumstances,
don't think Lashley's hurt by the loss, to be fair.
No, he's not. But then he ain't done much lately. He's not been hurt by Omos either. But like, I feel like to keep Lashley the man happy is what I'm thinking. Is it worth giving him something? Because if he ain't going for the world title, which he has ambitions for, what are they gonna do? Where's he go? What's his next storyline, basically, if you don't win the title?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let me have a look at these scores. Let me see if I can tactically play this. What are we thinking? Oof. I mean, I'm not exactly close to the top.
Sitting down the bottom of me, pal.
All right, mate. You're the one actually sitting at the bottom, mate. So don't you pipe up too much. Right. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to go Lashley. Why not? Let's make this fun, guys. Let's make this fun. All right. Exactly. Lashley for me. A few more comments here before we move on to the final match that we'll be predicting here on the stream. Victor, do we see a cash-in happening tonight? I think they're done with that at the moment. And I think the knee-jerk thing to push ratings is usually what they do. We kind of mentioned it. Even if it ain't tonight, it's on Raw or SmackDown. I don't see it happening with the men's. So if any of the women's, possibly. And maybe Bayley screws someone, and then the cash-in happens because Bayley's back, and we get two kind of big things there. I could kind of see that. Sandra, if Theory loses his selfies and pride will suffer. Definitely. I really like firstly, and I've only just clicked this now, Theory did the picture and Cena was gone. It was quite a funny spot anyway. But it's even funnier because you can't see me. Because all the images that go online of us with no... okay, I just thought of that. I don't know if they did that on purpose or not. Okay, let's move in now to the final match that we are going to predict. Once again, if you've just joined us, Dan, usually with us, is actually on holiday. So he's been sending in his thoughts by the pool. And what we've got next is his thoughts on the Usos defending... I guess they are defending these titles, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The Undisputed again. What are they defending? Both? What's going on here?
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Oh my goodness! For the Undisputed, again, we don't know what's going on against the Street Profits. So let's get into Dan and his thoughts on this match.
And finally, the match between the Usos and the Street Profits for the Undisputed Tag Team Championships. I am going to go for the Usos to retain the championships.
Usos retention there from Danny. Hasn't quite explained why. Let's see if we've got any comments on here. Exactly how many matches on the card? I think there's 7.
6.
6. Okay, there we go. Only 6. Who knows? Maybe they'll add another one as well. But at the moment, 6. Simple Uso thing there for me. I think this is going to be a clear-cut one, surely. Why would you take the titles off of the Usos? It always depends on what's going on with Roman Reigns. And unless it's going to go into a breakdown of the bloodline, which sometimes I thought could be potentially on its way, or not even a breakdown, but Roman going mega kind of heel on his own family. It doesn't feel like that's where this storyline goes next. We've got too much going on with Roman now with the Brock thing, potential cash-ins coming up as well. So I don't think this is the time to be, Roman Reigns is disappointed in his cousins type storyline. So for me, simply put, the Usos are going to win.
Yeah. Thing is, like, these two tag teams, along with the New Day, are, like holding this entire kind of division kind of afloat. As they were so adamant to kind of say about 155 times on SmackDown this week, there are also the new Viking Raiders, in case you was unaware.
What now?
Scott, the clip from SmackDown that I saw, Michael Cole legitimately mentioned the new Viking Raiders about 15 times within about 2 minutes. Just so everyone's crystal clear, they are now the new Viking Raiders.
Wait, as in that's their name, or they've changed members?
They haven't changed the name. Just it must be one of those things where Vince is screaming this down the headsets because everyone had to call them the new Viking Raiders. I think they're tagging them still the Viking Raiders, but because they're bad now, they're bad guys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
right.
Sorry, I should have clarified that first.
Right. They want him known as.
They're running a feud with the New Day. They turned heel on the New Day. They meant to have a match on SmackDown this past week. It didn't happen because they got attacked before the match. Yeah. And Michael Cole went into overdrive, insisting that they are now the new Viking Raiders. I think
you
even
can catch him on tout.
Say something. Pat McAfee tried to say Viking Raiders, and then Michael Cole was like, the new Viking Raiders.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So really just emphasizing that this is the new version of them is what they're trying to say.
They're on you.
Okay.
But anyway, these two teams are incredible. The Street Profits and thing. And interestingly, they kind of flirted with the Street Profits splitting up lately.
Right, okay.
Also quite weird. Because I hope that's not the case, because there's no tag teams apart from the Usos and the new Viking Raiders and the New Day. God, it's interesting. Yeah, this belt situation, to be fair, probably needs his own video anyway. So I won't go into that. For those that weren't here earlier on, you might rewind or whatever. But we've gone to town about talking about these title situations and how it's just very different from how it was before. But in long story short, I think the Usos are winning this match. Yeah. I think the Street Profits actually now on the pre-show, actually. The jerseys, by the way, that they're selling, that they're wearing, they need to sell. I have no idea why they're not selling this. They wear these like basketball jerseys that are custom. Like
they're nice, aren't they?
Surely that is merch 101, like easily. They wear basketball jerseys with obviously their name and they got like numbers on the back of them. Like, isn't that just like an easy sell for them? Like WWE, yeah. I mean, I don't want to hand you more money. Like, you've got $1 billion TV deal, and you've got, this Saudi money coming in. I'm sure you're doing all right, but come on. Street Profits merch. Like, it can't be that difficult to sort out.
Definitely not. They are nice. Do you know what else about it? Especially if you could get it and then just pick your own number and stick it on the front.
Yeah, customization session. That'd be all the rage.
100%. I mean, I'd definitely rock one of those. But yeah, do you know what? What I find really hard is, again, as we said, they book themselves into this corner because you want to see the Street Profits do well. Obviously, you'd love to see them be a part of, have another tag team championship run. But then at the moment, the Usos have got both titles. So if you take one off, it then downgrades everything they're doing for Roman because the Usos, it wouldn't make sense for them to, do you know what I mean? Unless the Street Profits were to win, and that's the reason for Roman to come back and say demand to get them back. But would that happen? Is that something that's going to happen right now? Like, do you know what I mean? It
too convoluted.
Yeah, exactly.
With obviously everything going on with Roman, and that, a prediction I do have, this will be a really, really good match.
This could be match of the night.
Yeah, like I think the ladder match need to watch out. Like I think of the Street Profits with the New Day was a fantastic match. They did a thing back in Survivor Series a couple of years back, and the Usos with New Day, we know that obviously they've gone to town with this. And I think if WWE, annoyingly, like WWE, there's lots of tag teams that they could put in these positions, but they refuse to, for the lack of and when I just have make makeshift tag teams. But yeah, I think this could be a really, really good match.
100%. We're doing predictions of who hasn't predicted.
I said
all right,
You said Uso.
Yeah, I think we've all pretty much gone Usos then, yeah?
Other than me.
I mean, come on. If anyone's going to stick with the Usos, it's you, mate.
Dude, do you know what? I know it's a random time, but I really don't know. I mean, as I was saying to Lucas, is it going to be one of those things where the Street Profits win and Roman basically comes out and says they get them back and that's it? Like, you go and get them back because you're making a mockery of the family.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't think they're in that time for that storyline, do you?
No, exactly. That's what I mean. At the same time, I don't think they're ready for that. And they've just brought out new merch. And thinking of a WWE mindset, you don't bring out new merch for something and then drop them as they're promoting, because on the merch is then with championships. You're not going to have that and then get rid of the titles that they're carrying. That's ridiculous. So yeah, I really don't know, man. I think, do you know what? Of all the matches, this is the hardest one for me to call.
Oh, really?
What?
Yeah. Even with 2 Money in the Bank matches, we've got 7 people in there.
Yeah, and this is my hardest one.
I really think this is
earlier, to be fair.
surely the easiest one for me.
Yeah, but do you know why? Because I love both tag teams so much. Like,
yeah, it's not who you want to win, though.
I mean, it is.
It's more like who
Surely.
you think will win. I think surely it's Usos, just because the only way if it's not the Usos is because a great storyline, which you could do, is them being annoyed. Roman Reigns being annoyed at them, but like that takes away from. I mean, not like we need a new kind of dimension to Brock and Roman, but I don't know.
I
Yeah, I
know
really.
you're gonna waste Roman's limited TV time on.
You know how it would work, right? This could all work. Is if Usos do lose it, Roman is annoyed, he goes too far, they abandon him when he's getting cashed in on. That's like the only way you could put it in a bow. You know what I mean? And it'd be Riddle, because Riddle is probably the best kind of rising star to do that. If anyone deserves to kind of go on and do it like a natural progression, that's the only way you can do it like this. If you're not kind of find another way out of it.
And
I
don't see them doing that.
It all feels a bit too kind of quick and cute.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Look, I'm gonna go Usos because logically it makes more sense, as I said. With I've been done with them since day one, innit?
That's it. Day one.
My stable is really Roman Reigns, the Usos.
Screw Sami Zayn trying to get in there. Rob's been trying to get in there since day one.
Do you know what? Like, honestly, even when you were
was Yokozuna. You've heard it if he's an Anoa'i.
Him and Mysterio, that explains the mask.
Rodney named his son Rob.
Yeah. It's not Robert or Roberto, it's Robney.
Yeah.
Robney.
Oh man. Honest, do you know what I was gonna say? Like, even since you were doing the Talk and Beans thing, and I've been on that, and that was 2017, something like that, when we were doing reviews and stuff. I've been a fan of the Usos, so like I can't sway against them. I just think if there was ever a time for the Street Profits really to go, it's now. Like, they're really hot, but again, it never.
I just pictured you with a tribal tattoo under that t-shirt
and a top knot.
But the Street Profits could win this, and then they could lose to the new Viking Raiders.
Oh god,
they're
possible.
New.
The new Viking Raiders. I don't know. Like, I'm going Usos, but I think I'm going Usos, but I do think the Street Profits need to have a proper run, and it not be in a case of having a match in a dumpster with an octopus and all this stuff that we've seen and always ridiculous. Like, let them have a legitimate proper run, and stuff like that. So I really want to see it because they've got so much potential. But yeah, I don't know.
This would be where if they didn't decide to merge the belts, they could have the Street Profits feud with the new Viking Raiders.
Yeah, but it looks cool on a t-shirt, Lucas. So you're not thinking about
that. It's just.
But that's it. If the Exactly that. Because now you're building up a new tag team. Well, not a new tag team, but a new tag team in a new Viking Raiders. They do need a babyface team to smash. Do you know what I mean? So
exactly.
why?
So, yeah.
It kind of would make sense, but
I'm going
But Rob,
Usos, but I want Street Profits to win it.
Something you just said there, though, resonates so truly with me, and I think, you know, this is the beauty about wrestling and like how it happens. Like, I think once you're kind of a fan of someone or into someone, like you will just kind of follow them for so long. You know, like the Usos you're saying, it's in 2017, 5 years now, and like I said, there's people who were champion, obviously coming out of the pandemic, Lashley and Drew, because again they were the guys that you saw in it. You know, like when obviously I was a first original fan, it was seeing Sting, I was seeing Hogan, you know, seeing Sting and other stuff, seeing obviously Hogan over in the WWF. Like it was, you know, that's what got me in. And I've always championed those people. So even now, and people know, people in the chat know how much I don't really like AEW. Even now, I will still watch Sting clips. You know, from when I was 3 years
Speaking
old.
of which, though, did you see that flipping dive he did the other day? How incredible was that? Oh my gosh.
63 years old or whatever. Yeah, but he's one of those people. The moment I saw him with the face paint, you know, 30 years ago, I think, when I was like 3 years old, like I've just always just been a Sting fan, and just anything he does, I'm just like, yeah. And similarly, like I said, people, like you say, Rob with the Usos, people want to pandemic with Drew and Lashley. You're always going to hold with people to, you know, to that kind of caliber and that level. And you know, this is the beauty about wrestling. Like it just allows people, you know, and same with the women's matches. Obviously, Sandra joining us earlier. Like I'm sure there's plenty of, you know, young girls, young women out there who champion people like Becky Lynch, Liv Morgan, Bayley, Sasha Banks, people like that.
Oh, but yeah, and previously, yeah, Lita and stuff like that. You look at someone like
do so well.
What's her name? AJ Lee, you know, with Lita and that kind of progression there and stuff like that, you know. So it's definitely case. I think that's a great point there. Rob, are you tying this up in a bow though? Are you putting the Usos out of there?
I'm going. I mean, as I was saying, like I've had every. I think all their
Do
merch.
you think the new Viking Raiders will enter the match?
I don't think so. I don't think the new Viking Raiders are going to appear yet.
What about the old Viking Raiders?
Maybe the War Machine.
That's what they'll probably do. It'll be some sort of like a identity crisis between them, and they'll be like, maybe that's where they're going. Next week they're going to be the old Viking Raiders. You can never quite tell what's going to happen with them. But...
Yeah.
So you're not taking the titles off the Usos here. You think it will be the Usos to win?
Oh man, look, I love the Street Profits, but I've been with the New Day.
Mate, again, it's not who you want to win. It's who do you predictions.
I love the Street Profits, and I want to see them win it. However,
he can't look. He cannot. He cannot stop talking about his love for these things. It's not about that.
The New Day.
I know the New Day.
You're confusing me now, man. It's getting late.
He's so emotional about the Usos. He's so scared that a clip's going to show up of him one day going, I don't think the Usos are going to do it. And then they're going to find out and be disappointed.
Oh, man, it's hard. Look, I'm going Usos because logically it makes more sense with merchandise and what they're doing and building up and that. If the Street Profits do it, I'm going to be happy. But I just don't. I can't see it right now. With you, as you said, it doesn't make sense right now to take them off the Usos. If it's going to be anyone, it needs to be Street Profits because they're the next top babyface tag team.
Yeah,
I think, in my opinion, bigger than New Day right now. New Day with Big E is
not
massive.
Much going on in the tag division, is
no, there really isn't.
Okay, so you're not locking in Street Profits. You are locking in the Usos. All right, cool. Man, a few comments here. Firstly, Victor, who do you guys go for in the men's money back? Of course, we have already spoke about this before. I'll quickly run through a recap of who we went for in that one. Dan, who again not with us, he's on holiday. He's gone for Riddle. I've gone for Seth. Lucas gone for Seth, and Rob also went for Riddle. Again, not saying who I mean, Rob's getting confused. He thinks it is about who you want to win, apparently. But I don't necessarily want Seth to win. I just think the person that cashes in will probably... I'd like it to be Riddle, and I'd like Riddle to successfully cash in someday, but I don't think that's going to happen. So I think the person cashing in probably loses. So I've gone for Seth. But then that's only because I think that's how they fix this whole Roman Reigns situation with 2 titles, is that because it's weird saying I'm only challenging for this one when I cash in, and let me make it clear and getting the refs hard enough and all that confusion. Sandra says this time around, people determine the bloodline is in Vines, and all of you supporting Usos, you are boomed street profits. It's their turn with their overwhelming ambitions. Okay, I mean, is there much use in the Street Profits winning the titles if there's not much of a division? I mean, other than the new Viking Raiders challenging them, it's not much of a tag division at the moment, is it?
Yeah, I don't even know who's still about. Like, are Los Lotharios still there? And they were kind of doing matches at one point. They just reintroduced.
Are the Bar still a team?
No, they're not. They're gone.
Oh, but Dudley Boy's still in it. You know,
is that your Cumbrian accent again there?
Whenever you meet older wrestling fans, isn't it? Like, or older people in the arse, aren't they? Like,
is The Rock still in it?
Yeah, Triple H still doing it.
No, it's always weird. It's always like a weird, but this just shows you how strong the Attitude Era was. It'd always be like, I remember, The Rock, Stone Cold, Triple H, Prince Albert.
Yeah.
And then it'll go S.A. Rios, Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio. Who did you say just then? S.A. Rios, Prince Albert. It's like,
well, the thing is, I
love it. That is how strong the Attitude Era was.
Years ago, so when I was coaching wrestling at school for their sports week, and I'd always it was always basically one of those things. It was very awkward where I only got I did a few different groups throughout the cup. It was like a 3-day thing, but only really got like half an hour basically with each group. But as an icebreaker, I'd always kind of ask, do you like wrestling, and like who's your favorite wrestlers? And the name that came up like so much.
Yeah.
Actually, let me ask you guys, who do you think would come up?
Okay, when was this that you did it?
These are they were school kids aged. They were year 7, 8, and 9. So what, from 11 up to about 14, 15.
And when was this?
About 2 years ago. Last time I did it. I did it 3 years in a row. Didn't do it.
I would love if one of them said Perry Saturn.
No, it won't be that old, will it? It won't be that old. It'd be
come up with three. Come up with
All right, so John Cena would have been there. They would have said John Cena.
Yes.
Randy Orton, Undertaker, Rey Mysterio, those kind of names.
Randy, yes.
Batista.
No,
Batista. These are younger than that.
There was
so it's gonna be.
There was someone who was mentioned more. John Cena mentioned the absolute most, and The Rock. Then there was someone who I'd say would mention probably about the same, almost about the same.
Ryback.
Ryback.
Big Show.
Big Show.
Big Show. Honest to God, like the amount of people who Randy Orton was because of the memes, the RKO stuff.
See, I was thinking that period as well, because I went for Ryback because I'm guessing they were 2012, 2013, they were probably into it a little bit growing
up. King
up.
of the pre-show matches.
And he was big then. Like, he had a bit of a nice
Big
run.
Show
Big Show's always had these kind of,
he's the big guy who wrestled.
You remember him,
You know nothing else like about wrestling, and you're just seeing it clips or whatever. You see Big Show, like it's just he is a wrestler. He is just the big guy who wrestles. And like I guess especially because it was a sports week, and like because obviously I think he's one of those people. He was in the WWF for so long as well, wasn't he? Doing so long, 99 all the way through to a couple of years ago, still doing matches. Like he always but I was shocked too at that. But I was like, it kind of makes sense because he's kind of been.
I think certain eras, if you catch him in certain eras,
nothing else about wrestling, he looks like the big guy who wrestles. And I think he had Netflix series around that time as well, a couple of years ago, if I remember correctly. And he's done other media. He's done like Weakest Link over here. Remember, he did, a few years back, clips of that exist. He is always just, and if nothing else, it's always just like, look how big this guy is, But yeah, like I think ultimately, I can't remember what we start this point with. But, Big Show. Yeah,
I can't remember. Oh, it's just about who people remember for some reason. Victor says Usos won't lose titles until Roman loses. Could be. I think it might go the other way. Hey guys, what if Sasha Banks or Naomi shows up since they're still on the roster? I mean, that is holding out for something big there. I think there's the very real situation that's going on backstage, and you'd have to kind of fix that and then also give them a prominent role, and that rarely happens. And if it did, it maybe could happen for Sasha because of her previous star power. It could happen for Naomi because of her ties to who still works there. But I don't see either of them things because they'd have to be kind of forgiven and then thrown in a prominent role. And I just don't see that happening even if the kind of politics of what actually went down and caused it are resolved. So, yeah, I don't see it. I think Sasha's gone personally, and I think Naomi will probably
I think
inevitably
Naomi
be
can
gone.
get a better deal out of this.
Well, she could end up being the Triple H after Madison Square Gardens,
but
kind of.
eat a lot of,
I think that's what's likely.
Glory, a lot of dirt to.
It's an interesting thing because, again, I just touched on it there, but she's, married into that family that are prominent in this thing. And I'm not saying she gets favorable things because of that, but realistically, if you're in this massive role and they're making T-shirts of you and they have given you both titles, or your cousin's got both the titles, or whoever we're talking, the example from in that family, they got a lot of stroke at the moment, surely. So it's a very interesting situation. And who knows how it's going to be. But I personally think Sasha's done. Even though I think, I think.
Not that I want to say that, but she's AEW bound.
I think she's
Hollywood bound, to be fair.
I think she will take a break.
Yeah. I think, I mean, it's hard with this situation because the only person who really kind of was able to negotiate, a return after walking out with Stone Cold, and that was obviously, 20 years ago, pretty much, when that happened. And I think WWE, they will just never get past someone walking out and it being a good thing. And the narrative that it's hard because the narrative
they went hard on it, didn't they? They were they're an embarrassment.
Yeah, like they've really gone to town with it. And I think that they're just too much to kind of prepare. I think, Naomi could negotiate a really good deal out of this. But then there is just the case of, the promises just get made and get broken all the time. So, if that was to happen, and then the same thing happens again of these empty promises and divisions going nowhere and blah, blah, people could just be like, we told you so. I guess they're both, again, don't want to, it's hard, it's hard. In this situation, it's hard because you sympathise with them, but then you also don't because, when it bottles down to it, they have a contract, they have things that they're meant to do, they have abandoned those, but they're also human beings, and so they're entitled to be like, okay, well, I'm happy with the treatment we're getting. Let's look at options of what we can do.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't wrong, were they?
Taken, it isn't necessarily the best idea, and in real life, you can't just not go into work. Or quit, or say, or if you quit, it's fine, but you quit. That's it.
But you're gone. That's it.
You're gone. You don't kind of come back through the back door. They put themselves in a very, very difficult spot, which only they know. Kind of, and obviously people that have been there before, like Punk, for instance, kind of know what it's like. But it doesn't seem like there'll be an ending that ends without one of or both of them no longer wrestling for the company again.
That's another interesting dynamic, being a team. Sorry, go on.
I said they need to make an example out of it, because if they do it and get away with it,
exactly. Imagine, say, if they bring him back, they've got to then push him as well. And imagine that getting the spotlight coming back. That's after the way they spoke about him on SmackDown and stuff like that. It just doesn't seem like that's the kind of likely scenario for it. Right, we'll start wrapping up here. Lucas, I can see a lot of different colors flashing into your face there. So, is there anything exciting going on the kickoff show?
Videos.
No matches.
No matches. They're not making any effort to do one. It looks like they've taken their time on each match as well. Don't think they've discussed the tag, and they have discussed the tag. But yeah, I'm with the days of pre-show matches, but hey ho, kickoff matches. Sorry, Vince.
It was always a tricky one because who goes on it? Is it a kind of slide if they're on it and not on the main show? But it does feel weird not having them, doesn't it? It doesn't feel like there's any need to watch the pre-show anymore.
It's just annoying because I just feel like, some of the cards when they've been quite long, I'm just like, couldn't you just put something on the pre-show? Just exactly. To kind of negate that, because we're up watching it already, and in the UK,
or make something exciting. Remember when they really went into this kickoff show about 6-7 years ago? They tried to break news on it and stuff like that a little bit, but they've kind of given up on it. I wouldn't be surprised if they got rid of it completely.
No, it's just because we have it over here, obviously with Sky Sports News. It exists just to be a constant stream of stuff, even with nothing happening. Like obviously,
But it doesn't exactly sell the shows anymore. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it
just kind of, you know, and it wouldn't surprise me in the future if WWE did more of this, where, you know, they've already got like Raw Talk, haven't they? And they've got, I think they had
Talking Smack and yeah.
Like,
didn't they have something before though with Jonathan Coachman? And then he was talking for a little while, and then they took over, and it was Punk and Page and Renee Young, and then
that was the backstage.
Oh, the Fox thing. Yeah,
the backstage thing. But I meant on the network and what they can do. I can see them just doing more of it. They got the people they do, but they've got the bump, haven't they? That's like a 3 hour, 4 hour show where they just talk about rubbish, pretty much. Like,
yeah,
it's just content that exists for the sake of having content. They know that someone will just put the bump on for 3 hours.
And maybe it is because they don't want people to get burnt out. I mean, we've got to be honest. We've said about this for years how much we can get burnt out watching a show, especially if you're there live in person.
But
and you have to see all the pre-show stuff as well. So maybe they're just trying to be conscious of that.
It goes into the bigger thing though now that I just watched Natalya chuck a pram at Ronda's face and she didn't even sell it. But anyway, no, it goes into in the era we're now, like the reaction content and the discussion content, which we're both, to be fair, like it has its own audience, and it's just a case of there are people who will sit and just watch people react to stuff, and then
it's just hard in their one though because it's all scripted.
A lot of the news is just the news talking about what happened previously on the news that they had to then talk about previously on the news.
It's just I know what you mean, but it's just more weird when it's all scripted. Like when you're hearing Booker T and the King and whoever else talk about, sometimes you hear a rogue kind of comment or kind of doesn't seem like they've been fed this to make it even on the predictions or whatever. Sometimes you hear some interesting things, but it used to feel a lot more like that. I think lately it feels it's just become really like, so I'm literally for an hour going to have to pretend all this is kayfabe is real while like you try and treat it like a sports presentation. That's what
I think also because
was.
It's only this company's narrative as well. But obviously Sky Sports News, while it reflects the views of obviously the Premier League and of the FA and stuff, like it is talking about all the different teams and all the different leagues. Obviously more attention paid towards some leagues than the others, but it's more of a thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's not like, you know, Arsenal Fan TV or like a solo kind of thing, is it? Whereas this is only WWE. And it's only their narrative or things that get discussed in the way that they want to discuss them. But it is just, I think it is just because they realise, I mean, I'm going to get a random video up for the bump, but I'm assuming it just gets a few million views or people just kind of going, oh, it's just, they're going to have Natalya on it today. I'm going to wait and watch on the back.
And sometimes the guests do say something interesting. It is slightly behind the curtain, but not enough.
But then is it any different from a TV talk show though? Like like Jonathan Ross, you know, where at the end of the day the people are there just saying the lines they're being told by their agents, and you know, we're meant to pretend and get involved in this pantomime that all this stuff.
Oh no, we're not.
Yes, actually, does. Like, I mean, it's that famous clip a few years ago when Jonathan Ross tried to play the Have You Ever game in One Direction. Yeah. And he asked them a question about have they taken like an illegal substance, and they all just sat there, just like what? And were really awkward and didn't put their hands up, knowing that obviously with respect, as we know, like they're celebrities, they've obviously probably dabbled in something, but they're media trained celebrities, not gonna sit there in the midst of smoking like whatever in front of a young fan base, are they? So they all just sat there like, yeah, next question kind of thing. Yeah. And same thing with this, like WWE, like they're just
going for the motions,
trained and they're scripted and it's all what they want it to say, isn't it? So it's, but yeah, there's obviously an audience for it because even sadly, me having to watch the pre-show even on mute, that's a viewer for them, isn't it?
Well, that's it. I mean, to be fair, like you say, there's an audience for it because there are still people that watch it, and I don't mean this in a dig, but there are people that really get invested in this stuff. You see it on Twitter by the way they interact with some of the superstars, you know. So, but it is what it is. But I guess that's where we come in, you know. Like, to be fair, we are that different. You know, we're trying to be at least that different voice where we obviously peek behind the curtain and kind of we know this ain't real. We're talking in the sense that it is, you know, this character should do this, and this character has deserved this, and this person player's character has gone through this in life, and this will be a nice payoff, and behind the scenes. So I guess that's where we come in, and other kind of channels like us, which we won't promote because stick with us here at Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling Channel. Please subscribe if you're new. If you're not, turn on the notifications. Something big happened, Lucas.
Yeah, sorry, something we haven't even touched upon this entire thing. I think maybe a good thing to end it on is Logan Paul signed for WWE. And they're showing
Oh my goodness, I forgot about that.
Raw this week, and a tweet, an Instagram post where obviously Logan Paul was obviously signed with the WWE and will apparently appear at SummerSlam, according to The Miz.
I mean, fair play. Look, he did really well at Mania. He did great at Mania. He's a perfect person to play a heel. He brings in a new generation they're trying to do. Fair play. Look, the problem it will be is he's going to get paid a pretty penny. It starts creating friction with the rest of the people on the show, and it kind of ruins people's pushes and stuff like that. But we'll have to see where it goes. But at the moment, it makes a lot of sense to me, business-wise. And hey, man, he weren't bad at Mania, was he?
I think he's one of the best celebrities we've seen in the ring.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's doing a promo at the moment. Like, I think he is just.
Oh, is he on? Is he on the show?
No, pre-recorded.
Oh.
But yeah,
I thought the kickoff was kicking off.
You have to imagine that he will show up at some point, probably on Raw. But yeah, I mean, that's another big story that obviously we didn't touch upon tonight. But there's so much going on in the world of wrestling. But yeah, I thought I'd skip it.
Yeah. Good point, Lucas. Thanks for bringing it up. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. And Lucas touched on something there that there's a lot going on in wrestling. So we are trying to figure out ways that we can bring you more content to talk about this stuff as well. So thank you for everyone that's joined us for the build-up, whether it's your first time, your 10th time, your second time, or your fourth. We really do appreciate you being with us. And any other time, of course. We will be back tomorrow for the recap and review. We didn't get to do Hell in a Cell, but we will be doing Money in the Bank. We'll be reviewing it. It should hopefully be a very noteworthy show that we have a lot to talk about. Even if it's fun stuff or annoying stuff, I'm sure we'll have a good laugh with it tomorrow anyway. So once again, thank you. I've been Scott. Lucas over here in a Rolling Stones. Thank you very much for joining us as well. Down there in the mask, we've got Rob. Thank you, who we now know as Robney. Anoi, the famous Samoan luchador right now. Thank you very much for everyone that's joined us, commented for the first time, commented for the second time, however many times you've been here watching us. We really do appreciate it. And again, if you're new here, please subscribe. And if you're not, make sure you got that bell stuff ding-a-linging to know when we do post new videos as well. Anyway, thank you very much. And we'll see you tomorrow for the recap and review show. Oh, wait, before we do, here's the table. Let's see how that changes tomorrow as well. All right, guys, see you later.
Bye for now.
Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling Channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.